going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? I don't know why my clip is not playing, but Lord have mercy. Ugh, that sucked. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. Happy Sunday to all of you all. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Lady Luck Club. We have special guest, y'all. He's been up here with us before, I think twice. We got Johnny Walker Dread in the house. Before we get to it, you guys, we will be discussing parts of the Carmelo Anthony case and then diving into the Nolan Wells case as well. Since this is definitely something that needs to be addressed. Got a couple videos. In the meantime, you all make sure as you come in, you hit that like button and drop a comment. We're finally here, and you all listen. I'm exhausted. I might just let this be the last slide for the day. I got up early this morning, y'all. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Johnny Walker Dread, how you doing, honey?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Like you, I'm worn out by all these events. I can't keep up.
Oh my God, it's always something, and it's it's horrible news. It's kids losing their lives.
Yeah.
And you got parents out here that think they went to law school trying to decipher what should and shouldn't happen. It's like, listen, when you stay focused on the law, when the shoe is on the other foot, then you want the law to prevail in that as well. That's why you should not invoke bias and some partiality into legal matters. Let the facts and the law and the evidence prevail. Let evidence take you where it takes you. Because the next thing you know, you be out here talking about, oh, well, we want Carmelo Anthony out, but we want the 3 kids that may have done something to Nolan Wells in forever. Like, no. That's not how the law works. You want
to give you an idea. Just to give an idea, the same people who said that he's going to get off because 35 years is clear bias. I mean, nobody goes for 35 years for their first offense. These are the same people who wanted Kyle Rittenhouse to go to prison for life for the same offense, right? And Kyle was the same age, 17, no priors at all. So they can't avoid the hypocrisy because they mangle the law to suit each case.
Right.
It just doesn't work like that. The law doesn't care about your feelings.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. So I say that all the time. And, the comments and people throwing all that nonsense my way. Let me tell you something. It doesn't get Carmelo Anthony out of prison.
Right. Exactly. Although they think that the appeals court is going to be looking through the web, trying to find some other reason why this could. Oh, wait a minute. Willie D's got a new. Oh my gosh, we never thought about that. I guess we're going to have to get a new trial for him. It doesn't work like that. So they think that they can spring him by introducing these theories, and the appeals court does not care about any new theories.
They don't. That's not what they're going to even hear when it comes to an appeal. They want to hear, okay, well, there any legal errors? Did the jury make any irrational decision? And this is something that attorney Dennis Sperling and I discussed in our pre-recorded session this morning that will be premiering today. But that's what he spoke about is, what will be the primary focus of the appellate court. I mean, in any other situation, in accordance with the law, they're looking at any legal errors. They're looking at the technical errors, such as jury selection process. Did we get a juror on the bench that did have some connection with the prosecutor's office, or was there some sort of unreasonable ruling given from the jury itself? Those are the things that the appellate court are going to be looking at. That is not an opportunity for you to just wipe the slate clean and start over and bring in all new witnesses, new testimony, new evidence. No, that's not what the appellate process is for. You're basically saying these errors occurred that hindered and altered the outcome of the case, and this needs to be corrected with a new trial. not a new trial for new witnesses and new evidence. And so, you know, Dennis Sperling, attorney Dennis Sperling said flat out, it's not going to happen. He's not going to get an appeal. It's just,
I don't
it's
think
just so
so. I mean,
straightforward. It's ridiculous. It's like, and he's like, that's just my thoughts on it. But I don't foresee him getting a new appeal, a new trial like this when the issues that they raised in the motion for the new trial and the judge recusal, they're making these claims, but they're not citing how the claims are substantiated.
right.
You know,
I mean, okay,
it's
maybe there
still
was an
alleged,
error, but how did this affect Carmelo's verdict?
right?
You know, and
Right.
as a perfect example is the like the curfew. Okay, maybe the curfew was out of the ordinary, maybe it was severe, but did the curfew make the jury convict Carmelo? No.
Right.
So
No,
they're not going to care about that, and
not
they're
at all.
also going to be very pro prosecution. I
Yeah,
mean, they're not going to want a new trial unless something is especially egregious. But
exactly.
yeah, now they did. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but they did release the retrial motion by Carmelo's attorneys,
Mm-hmm. I have it.
and there's a couple of things that came out of it that are going to basically blow out some of the arguments that people have been making. First of all, how many times have you heard something about the second video? Well, they didn't show the real video to the jury. That the real video was clear. It showed Carmelo getting ganged up and beaten, and the jury never got to see that. Well,
Child.
guess what? The file for the remotion mentioned nothing about a second video. Nothing.
Because it's not real.
Yeah, it's
And
the
you can't take internet theories to court.
yeah, it's the Flying Dutchman of legal briefs, right? I mean, it's like
Right.
you people claim to have seen it, but nobody
Yeah,
can
in his
ever
sleep.
substantiate it. So
Right.
yeah, there is no second video. The problem that people had was they were watching the video on their monitors. When you
Mm-hmm.
upload it to YouTube, it gets compressed, and then you're going to have it further compressed by your own computing monitor system. So you're not going to see quite the clarity that they saw in the actual courtroom. But all the jurors
Mm-hmm.
saw the clarity, and they all said
Right.
guilty. So forget
Yeah.
it.
It's that simple.
And yeah,
He was found guilty based on the requirements for the murder charge, even though they were given the option for the aggravation for a lesser charge. They said no, there is sufficient evidence to meet the requirements for the murder in accordance with Texas Penal Code. And that's what they did.
mhm,
And that is what you want to happen when it comes to any other matter. Because now with Nolan Wells, you want that application of law to be done right. You
mhm,
can't bend the law because of race. That is the epitome of discrimination. That is how you end up with a tainted jury and have a level of bias invoked into our judicial system to where if you expect it on one side, then all other sides, all other races, no matter what, are going to expect it as well.
right.
It's
One more
insane.
thing. One more thing that didn't show up was there's a lot of people, Willie, one of them, saying that it wasn't really Carmelo that stabbed Austin. It was his brother, or it was these one of these other two guys. But in the brief filed by Carmelo's new attorneys, they say that Carmelo Anthony is claiming self-defense for stabbing Austin Metcalf. It,
Right.
that's it. I mean, he
Yeah.
has. I mean, it's an affirmative defense. He has to admit that he
Right.
stabbed Austin, or he can't claim self-defense for it. So
Exactly. The
so you
act
got
of
all these
stabbing him was
weird,
done by Carmelo Anthony.
yeah. But at any rate, I did send you a link to the actual file. You can read it, some other time if you want the brief. But
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
have
I
it.
read it. I think there's a couple of
190
things that where they
pages.
did a little bit better, and I'm going to put some videos out on my channel that's
Mm-hmm.
describing where I think some of their stronger arguments are. But
Okay.
I'm trying to bend over backwards to see their kind of side of things, because the last thing I want to do is get surprised. I don't
No,
want to
that's
go on
why.
there and say they have no chance, they have no chance, and then if it does get turned over a retrial, then I got egg on my face, and I hate that. I really
And
do.
see, that's why one of the things I loved about the discussion we had with that I had with Attorney Dennis Sperling. He's like, look, this is my opinion based on my view of the case and the evidence and all of that. He said, I don't see it, but you never know. It sometimes you'll be surprised, and
Right.
I agree. And I said, when it comes to coverage on stuff like this, I bless God for having the ability to still say, I have to maintain neutrality here because you never know.
Yeah.
I've seen situations where you say to yourself, this is a surefire open shut case. And then next thing you know, you're like, wow, this person didn't even get the amount of time I thought it was going to get based on XYZ. Because things could happen and come up to where the appellate court might look at this and say, okay, well, it was a possible couple jurors that may have been a little flaky. That could warrant a new trial, but it doesn't
Mhm.
mean that you'll be bringing in new evidence. It's just a repeat. It's to correct the errors that were done in the trial, in the first trial itself. So, and it
Right.
has to be material, meaning the outcome of the ruling would be different if these
Mhm.
errors had not occurred. That's what it comes down to. So I wanted to go over a brief summary of the actual motion for the new trial for
Oh,
Carmelo
okay,
Anthony.
sure.
I do have the 193 pages.
Okay.
Right. Oh Lord have mercy, Jesus. It's so long. Y'all, it's 193 pages. I can't. Yeah, good grief. But this is what laws like is boring.
Hmm.
So they have exhibits and all of that. Typically they will have the transcript. Did you see the transcript in here? That should
No,
be
I
an
don't think
exhibit.
that they included them.
They didn't include the transcript.
I don't think so. No, because the
Typically,
transcripts would be huge. I mean, that would take up. Do you see
okay,
it in
here's the
there?
transcript right here. Yeah, I'm about to say, okay,
What does that
verified
say though?
transcript of WFAA TV interview of
Oh,
John.
that's an interview
Oh,
transcript.
it's an interview.
Yeah,
Lord, where is the?
because I'm thinking transcripts would be a massive
It's a
document.
massive file. They could just do a digital and
Yeah,
not have it printed.
and I
Okay,
also
yeah, that's
think
what
that
you can.
people would be talking a lot about what's in the transcripts,
Yeah,
but
I
you're
mean
not
that's
seeing it.
mostly that's mostly what you rely on when it comes to an appeal is that getting that court transcript because
Hmm.
you're trying to find the errors that occurred during the trial, not ask for a whole new trial and start over fresh, wipe the slate clean type of thing. No, here are the errors that occurred in the trial. Here, where they misapplied law and that was substantial to the argument, which would have it would it change the outcome? That's the question that's
Right.
being asked over and over when you're reading through these motions for on an appeal. Would it change the outcome? Would any of this change the outcome? Was the ruling that was rendered by the jury reasonable? Was it based on the evidence? Was it based on the law? Did the requirements for the murder charge get fulfilled? So once the interview I did with attorney Dennis Sperling is released, then people will be able to understand from an attorney's perspective, kind of what to expect and some of the points that he made, valid points that he brought up regarding the difference in Carmelo having a white attorney versus a black attorney. Personally, I think the law is the law, but his response to that is reasonable, and he has, of course, has his opinions and thoughts on that. And but at the end of the day, he said that Carmelo Anthony still would be in prison.
Right.
It
But
doesn't mean that he's not going to go. If he had a black attorney, he still would have gone to prison. Maybe the attorney would have been able to argue, at some level of aggravation, but he would have still gone to prison.
Well, and keep in mind, if you're supposedly in this real racist county,
Yeah.
having a white attorney would probably work in your benefit. I mean, so right? I mean, if that is their argument that the jury they all hate black people, well, then having a black attorney probably wouldn't help you get off. So
Yeah,
I don't understand their reasoning at all.
I
And by
mean,
the
I
way, I
think
would love it. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say his. I mean, what he stated in the because it was pre-recorded, so what he stated made sense. I mean, but me personally, I would rather the whole idea of race be left out of the equation. That
Sure.
way, you can focus solely on the law and the evidence when you're looking at these cases, because you don't want people to see. And I told him, I said, this is what sparked so many of the you had protests outside the courthouse. Like, people get in fights, and we're supposed to be showing our kids how to act. And you got the parents acting like they've lost their minds outside the courthouse. You may agree or not agree with the ruling, but the example we're setting as the parents here, we're teaching our kids to let cooler heads prevail. So sometimes just walk away from situations that aren't warranted for you to have to do any of that. And to use wisdom and discernment. We can't go outside the courthouse and acting like a bunch of hoodlums fighting each
Mhm.
other. Well, what are we showing the kids? We're showing the
Oh,
kids, you don't like some, come down here, protest, and get into a fight. What you mean?
mhm.
No, go
Well,
home and go clean your room and do your homework.
you saw
So,
what happened outside the courthouse there. Can you imagine if they had
yeah.
allowed streamers to come in there with the video phones, what that would have been like inside the
Oh my
courthouse?
god. Oh my
Oh
god. They
my
would tore
gosh.
that
Oh, and
court
by the
up.
way, I would love it if Dennis Sperling would look at my video where I dissect one of the
Hmm.
what I consider one of their stronger arguments. Because
Hmm.
I'm not a lawyer, I would love it if he came in and said, "You're wrong because this, and this." Okay, because I need to be corrected if I have it wrong, but I don't think I do.
No,
I
I
mean, I
think
can.
he just said the when it came to the ruling overall,
Mhm,
he said the jury found that he committed murder based on the law and the definition and the requirements, and that Carmelo Anthony was going to go to prison. I don't want people like that or anyone out here just stabbing kids or walking the streets. I had to agree with. I wholeheartedly agree. I don't want anyone that commits murder or capable of it to get off and get away with that because we're trying to label it self-defense when the law doesn't fit. We want the law to fit in any other case. People are going to want the law to fit with Nolan Wells. We have to want the law to prevail when it comes to Austin Metcalf.
right.
And forget the race. If you want to see them, let's imagine all the kids with Nolan Wells are all black, and let's imagine if Carmelo Anthony was white. Then that way you can now have equal footing when it comes to the race. That's not a factor. And what stands out should be the finding of fact, law, and evidence. Period. So I thought he should have got more time. He got 35 years. Even
Hmm.
Counselor Sperling said that was gracious. He said because he could have gotten 99 years. It's like that's the same thing I've been saying to people. He could have gotten 99 years, but he got 35. And then might have the opportunity to parole after 17 and a half.
And keep in
So
mind,
it's
in
it's crazy.
Wisconsin, if he had done this in Wisconsin, that would have been a mandatory life sentence.
Yeah.
That's what Kyle Rittenhouse was facing was mandatory life sentence if he would have been convicted. And they all wanted him convicted for it. But then when Carmelo gets 35 years, all of a sudden that's harsh. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy is
It's
just
just
so
hypocritical.
intense.
Yeah. Because now if they with Nolan Wells, let's say these three young men are charged. They're gonna want these three young men in prison for the rest of their lives. What if they walk away with 25 years?
Or 35.
Well, 35.
What are they gonna say with 35 years? They're gonna say what? Well, that's not
Yeah.
enough.
Oh, that's not enough time. Well, then this is why you don't go on race
Yeah.
because you want the law to be fairly applied across the board. and in every situation, not just in the situations where you think only this one race of people should come out on top. Well, no, because then when it's the other way around, you're gonna want justice in that matter where you want that person to go to prison for the rest of their life. Let the evidence and the law prevail where it should, how it should be interpreted. Let that let the law do the work for you.
Right.
That's it's that simple. And I'm hoping that Nola Wells gets justice just as much as I wanted justice for Austin Metcalf. And at the end of the day, Carmelo Anthony could have got up and walked away. He didn't. We got to teach our kids restraint. We got to teach them how to maintain some level of discipline and control. And if you want, I will email your video link in your channel over to Attorney Dennis Sperling.
Yeah, I would really
He's
go. I
really
mean,
funny. He's really
I
nice.
would. Yeah, he's really sharp. I've been watching
Oh
him,
yeah.
and I tell you what, he handles the complainers pretty well.
Oh, he does.
But then again, he knows stuff, and they don't, and that's really
Yep.
helpful when you know stuff.
Yep.
Oh, and by
Yep.
the way, I had Wendy Rittenhouse and Kyle's sister Faith. These are Kyle Rittenhouse's family on my live stream yesterday,
Oh,
and
nice. Okay, I'll check out the replay.
and one of the questions I asked Wendy was, there's complaints that Carmelo's
Mhm.
parents didn't show up for his sentencing. Surprise of surprises, Wendy said, I would have showed up for Kyle, but I totally understand. And I'm thinking,
Mhm.
this is a lady who's spinning over backwards to look at this thing from a non-political view. She's a
Yeah,
mother
exactly.
who's been through this.
Mhm.
And I told her about it. I said, because she has the perspective that we don't. I think we gotta give her a lot of credit. Credibility is really strong on this, and so I don't think the criticism of Carmelo's parents, at least on this respect, is worthy. I mean,
I get
she
you.
says you don't know how you handle these traumatic events, and having
Right.
your son sentenced to prison.
Yeah.
Okay, she says I can understand why they didn't make it. Okay, well,
I can understand that as a parent, but I also, I mean, if I'm truly sympathetic to the other family that lost their son, that's you see, in understanding the importance of the sentencing hearing, that's where you hear the victim impact statements.
mhm.
And for you to say you're sympathetic, okay, but you have to understand their son will never come back home. Yours is going to prison. It's horrible. But he was found guilty too of murder. That means he acted in a way to where he should not have. He should have walked away. He should have got up and moved. He should have did anything to avoid that situation. And he didn't. But yet, if you're truly sympathetic to them losing their son, you would at least listen to the victim impact statements.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
matter of
Yeah.
listening.
And that didn't come up. That didn't come up. I mean,
Yeah.
but and one more little note. Everybody complained about people trying to deplatform Carmelo's attempt to raise money. I didn't know it, but Wendy's fundraising was canceled 23 times. So
Huh?
yeah, 23. She got deplatformed 23 times because people didn't want Kyle raising money for his legal defense. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, y'all. Man, that's something else. I think. See, this situation here, they raised so much money. Carmelo Anthony's parents raised so much money that was supposed to be for the legal defense fund. It's kind of like when you got people coming out pretty much saying that you're doing this for money, and it makes you look at them again, sideways, because you're kind of like, okay, you got this clown out here, Charleston White, talking about, oh no, the dad full of crap and he's a punk and blah blah blah, and now he just want money. I'm not helping them with anything. I'm done with them. They had that so-called minister of justice or whatever his fake
Dominic
title was.
Alexander.
Oh my God, he got paid money. They paid him money. And the fact that you spent money that was supposed to be for your son's legal defense on people like Dominic Alexander, who was not invited. He called them and reached out to them and then had the audacity to charge them for that. Yeah, I can get your son justice. You're not, are you an attorney? No. Oh, okay, well, bye. Get off my phone. Like, what do you mean? And they still had to turn around and hire an attorney. And now it's, oh, all the attorneys' fault. No, it's the evidence that pointed towards Carmelo Anthony being found guilty. It's that simple. If you close your eyes and forget what race he is, let's just say Austin Metcalf was black. Now, how does this look with two black boys? Mm-hmm. People don't even get in the uproar when we see two black people end up in a situation like this. One takes the other's life. What's all this energy at with this black on black crime? Where's that at? I think
there's no political crazy. There's no political message that you can push with that, and that's really what this is about. Yeah.
Yep. So let me get to this. I want to go over this. Sure. This is just a summary, you all, of the new motion for a new trial and judge recusal as a part of Carmelo Anthony's appeal. The new legal team has filed two major motions challenging his first-degree murder conviction in the April 2nd, 25 stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet. Anthony, now 19, was sentenced to 35 years in prison by a Collin County jury. Motions filed: a motion for a new trial. 63-page filing argues 4 constitutional and procedural errors tainted the trial and should be reviewed by an independent judge. Key claims include a violation of the 6th Amendment right to a public trial. Cameras were banned and only 27 public seats were available with no overflow or live streaming. You have to get permission from the court to live stream, to bring in the media for a criminal matter like this. You got to get permission from the chief judge. Why didn't they do that? Like, they would have to have a set of media get an order to be able to come in and live stream. So, not saying that that's not plausible, because that's happening with the Charlie Kirk case. So, why didn't they just ask or request to have a public trial with cameras in the courtroom? And if there were a motion filed for that and the judge denied it, the judge would have to deny it based on a legal reasoning. Where is that motion or order of his denial?
Yeah, good question.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was there an order where did the judge sign an order denying a request for cameras in the room? Let me look that up right quick.
While you're looking that up, a lot of their information came from Thelma Anderson. Does the name sound familiar?
Thelma Anderson?
Well, we'll see her in a moment. She's the attorney in Dallas that's been talking a lot about the Carmelo Anthony case, and she's batshit crazy.
Oh, good Lord. So, okay, judge defends camera ban. Okay, let me see what's going on. So the judge who presided over the high profile, let me check my tab. High murder profile trial of Carmelo Anthony is standing by one of the case's most controversial decisions, saying keeping cameras out of the courtroom was necessary to ensure a fair trial. Judge John Roach of the 296th District Court said this week that it was the correct decision to bar cameras and live streaming during Anthony's murder trial. Collin County jury on Tuesday sentenced Anthony to 35 years in prison after finding him guilty in the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Memorial High School student Austin Metcalf during high school track meet in Frisco. Okay, so he defended his decision for cameras to be banned. Yes, it was an easy decision. I'll tell you why. My primary goal in every case is to make sure the defendant and prosecution get a fair trial. Period. I know I made people mad, but I'm not here to make them happy either, because judges aren't. They're there to be neutral. So even if it pissed off both parties, he made the decision, because look at all the tension with this. You can imagine all the tension with it. Plus, some of those kids were minors, were they not?
Yeah.
Some
Well,
of the kids that
some of the kids
testified
were
were minors
keep in,
still.
keep in mind in Texas, a 17-year-old is an adult, but some of the kids were below or younger than the age of 17, I believe.
Right. So some of the kids that testified, because they had what, over 20
Mhm.
witnesses or something like that. Some of them that testified were still minor children.
Right.
They
Right.
probably wanted to do that for their safety and privacy. I mean,
Well,
you talking about something very tense, high profile case. You've got minors going in to testify. You know, I don't blame them. We want to keep the kids out the limelight and keep them safe, or what? It's, yeah, now show all the kids for what? So they can get bullied at school. You
well,
know, this is crazy.
the judge's his responsibility is the sanctity of the actual courtroom.
Right,
He doesn't care what people do outside the courtroom unless
right.
it affects the verdict in some way. So his main responsibility is towards what happens inside the courtroom. Therefore, banning cameras is perfectly appropriate. And the feds, they don't have
Hmm.
cameras in their courtrooms. So
Exactly.
yeah.
It's something that the judge can grant or deny. It's a request. All you can do is request it, and that's it. And if you don't like it, then you can appeal it. That's what they're trying to do. But more than likely, what is the appellate court going to say? Would this have changed the ruling? Would cameras coming in the courtroom been substantial and material to the case to alter the outcome of the ruling by the jury? The answer
Exactly.
is probably going to be no.
Hmm.
That ruling would have been the same if cameras were in there. And it probably would have been more delayed and distracting, because people would have been in there arguing and giving commentary and giving, making all kinds of noises and stuff. Then you got these kids being recorded. If they're minors and they're testifying, you want them to maintain that level of privacy. They still have to go to school. They still have to keep living in their neighborhoods and stuff and keep going on in life. So we're so quick to want to demand things, we don't think about anyone else. It's selfish. The decision to bar cameras and live streaming drew criticism from reporters and members of the public who wanted greater access to the proceedings. I had to balance the media's right to know and be able to know what's going on, which I think is extraordinarily important. I think the public had access to the courtroom and see what is going on, because they did. They could just go in there. They don't have to live stream and record, but they could have went in and witnessed the case. I mean, the trial. The Texas judge said his goal was to prevent outside commentary and public pressure, because that's exactly what judges are supposed to do.
Hmm.
You don't need your
Yeah.
outside influence and your biasness and coming in, and then you're disrupting the courtroom, hindering or preventing, or interfering the matter from proceeding through the court. Judges don't have time for all of that, because you got people throwing tantrums.
Well, and the other thing is when you bring in the cameras from the bloggers and stuff, that's when
Right.
the lawyers start posturing and they start playing to the crowd. And
Yep.
so you start to wonder if these lawyers been watching too much TV. We don't shout at our witnesses, we don't badger them, we don't do a lot of the things that you see on TV. And so
Right.
I think that the judge wanted to kind of suppress that as well, some of the, you know,
Yeah.
soapbox, oratory.
Yeah. So and I'm telling you, like this, my godmother was a federal magistrate judge. Yeah, I couldn't even bring my phone into the courthouse.
Hmm.
I couldn't
Yeah.
get past security with a cell phone. I had to check in my phones. You know, she told me, you want to bring your phones up here? You can come see me all day, little girl, but you better get an order from the chief judge. She and I'm like, Mom. She's like, I don't care. I will tell you this to anyone else. Go get an order from the chief judge. You want to bring your cell phones up in there. I couldn't even bring to go see my own mom. I couldn't even bring a phone up in there into her chambers because I couldn't get it past security. You have to check your cell phones at the security checkpoint to go into a federal courthouse. So all this nonsense, like people acting like this is the first time they're just not figuring out that you don't typically have, these criminal proceedings live stream like that. This has been always in existence. This has always been something that's been restricted. You have to get permission for that. And if the judge denies it and cites you all are it's too much tension, all this racial motivation, and everybody fighting and yelling and screaming outside, and everybody sitting here putting their 2 cents in, pretending like they went to law school when they didn't. We don't need all of that in this courtroom. And what that judge will do is maintain order in his courtroom. Does that make sense? Hit the phone. You don't have to like it, but that's how it works.
Exactly.
And there are court rules to support that. So court rules based upon the law itself help to give a valid reasoning for that judge to deny cameras being in there. Plus, there's that risk of you recording and live streaming minors testifying. You don't want to do that. And if you've got over 20 witnesses, they deserve to have their right to privacy, to be able to go in and testify and not have to worry about people identifying them or pointing them out. You had people out here randomly punching white people because they thought they were on the jury. You think these witnesses want to be subjected to that? That's the stuff that the judge has to think about. Judges watch YouTube as well. Hey, mama. Judges watch YouTube. So you don't think that judge knows that you got random black people out here punching and attacking white people because they just mad and they taking it out on white people? 3 girls are in jail or went to jail for beating up a young white girl because they just wanted to find the smallest white girl they can find to beat up and jump. 3 black women went to jail for that. Yeah. It's the idiocy.
Crazy.
Yeah. So imagine all of that being brought into the courtroom. All that energy. He wouldn't have gotten anything done. Nope. So he wanted to prevent outside commentary and public pressure from influencing the proceedings of the jury. Rightfully so. As long as I follow the law, I sleep well at night. He should. Let's see here. Roach pushed back on claims that he had a personal relationship with the Metcalf family. I wouldn't know Mr. Metcalf prior to this trial if he walked up to me and he said hello. Child, they just fishing for any old thing. Good Lord. Let's go back to the summary right quick. So I just wanted to make sure I was clear on this before I commented on this. No, the judge had every right to ban the cameras. That's not standard court rule procedure either way, for that to be live streamed. So the judge said no, sit down, get over it. And more than likely, the appellate court is going to uphold the ruling of the lower court regarding that, especially because the judge, I'm sure, is going to write an op-ed or response to this, and he's going to cite all these outside influences that we have seen all over the internet. People being assaulted and attacked, fights breaking out outside the courthouse. No. If you don't know how to act, then get to stay at home. I don't want to. But that's insane. Now, you trying to bring all that into the courthouse? No. We're not coming in with that. Prosecutorial misconduct allegedly, because this word right here, repudiating an off-the-record agreement to exclude character and extraneous act evidence. What are they doing? Off-the-record agreement? Are you okay, talking about
I can explain that one because my next video is about that particular complaint, and that is, as I predicted, I told everybody that Carmelo's and Austin's past suspensions and whatever are not going to be put in front of the jury. I knew that was going to happen. So the 2 lawyers got into a gentleman's agreement. They said, look, let's just not even go there. Let's try this case on what happened under the tent, because Austin and Carmelo both have, I guess, dirty laundry, and both of them really don't want that disclosed to the public, right? So it was in their best interest to not bring it in. The complaint is that this gentleman's agreement was a Trojan horse by the prosecution, and that when it came time to put Carmelo on the stand, the prosecution said the deal is off because of a question that the defense asked that they said open the door. So now
Right.
the defense is saying, or Carmelo's lawyers are saying that Carmelo wasn't able to go on the stand because the agreement was broken by the prosecution. And to be honest with you, at least on the face of it, prima facie, their argument is reasonable. I don't think it's going to be enough, but it's not
No.
totally insane like a lot of the other stuff they're complaining about, like the curfew. Like, who cares that the public wasn't allowed to be on the court grounds at midnight? You know, I mean, that's
Mhm.
they actually complained about that, but like nobody cares. But this one here is a reasonable argument. I'm going to put forth a video on that where I dissect in plain language what they're
Uh-huh.
saying. But that's it. That's what that's about.
Okay, so typically they do have, a line of questioning they ask where they're trying to, build character development, right? And so
Right.
if Anthony is a hothead and he's been in trouble in the past, and then you've got Austin Metcalf and he's had some issues in the past. They both just decided to agree that we're not going to bring in any past conduct to, build character development with, because
Right.
if you do it for one, you got to do it for others. And they're teenage boys. I'm sure they've had a lot of hothead moments where they didn't clean their room and wash the dishes or anything like that. Or they got in trouble in school, got into a fight on the football field. I'm sure both kids have had those moments. And they didn't want that to be the focus, considering the fact these are kids. These are what teenage boys do, right? We
Right.
don't want to lessen human life here because we're focused on Austin Metcalf getting in a couple school fights, but we don't
Mhm.
want a murder charge to be based on Carmelo Anthony getting in a couple school fights either.
Right.
We
Exactly.
want
And
to keep it focused on the evidence at hand related to the charges and not what they did when they was 14 years old and they was out here, violating curfew.
there's another aspect to it.
Yeah.
Normally, these things are settled in a motion of limine. So
Yeah,
you put
exactly.
your arguments up. Here, this was just a gentleman's agreement
Right.
between the prosecutor and defense, and the judge said that I have no ability to enforce this. This is something that
Right.
you guys came up with, and that's their complaint is that the judge didn't support them in their argument that the prosecution was breaking the rule. Um, I think this was a really good one for Dennis Sperling to really comment on because I would love to hear his take on my take on it. But that's
Oh
for
yeah,
another day.
send the video link. And maybe you can have him on your show and you can sit down and interview and talk with him, because I think with these things happen all the time where you have, okay, counselor, come and approach the bench, and then both parties attorneys come to the judge's bench, and then they'll ask a couple questions and they'll just say, okay, well, we will exclude this, particular exhibit, or we'll redact this particular evidence, and they might just do that just to keep the case moving forward. Now,
Mhm.
when one party says we're going to stick to this and we're going to go ahead and agree to not include past conduct of teenage boys, because they boys getting in a little scuffle when they were 16, you know, the prosecutor should have stayed with that, because once you do open that can of worms, now not only are you being asked about this, you're subjected to cross exam, and of
Mhm.
course the defense attorney does not want to put his client through that, knowing that this is just going to be what the jury hears. It's this type of character development where, the prosecutor comes out and, after agreeing to not really bring in extra activity outside of, the matter at hand, outside of what would apply for the murder charge. You talking about when he got in this fight in the hallway at 16, he got suspended for 3 days. Like, You say we would not build this case, so we're not going to sit here and use that to develop character. Stick to it. Now you're
Mhm.
opening the door. What are you doing? So
Well,
you
I could
got
tell
to
you what it
remember that this
was.
stuff happens all the time, and they just decide, okay,
Yeah,
we're not going to let them testify.
I could tell you what it was that opened the door. The defense made a claim, a statement in front of the jury somehow that Carmelo played chess. And the prosecution came in later and said they opened the door for this character evidence because by claiming that he plays chess, they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to make him sound like he's a rational, intelligent, patient kind of kid. And so, therefore, if they put Carmelo on the stand, then we can come in and ask Carmelo about his past background. Now, at that point, the defense is saying that they were only given 10 minutes, and with the prospect that the
Mm-hmm.
prosecution could come in and question Carmelo's about his past, that Carmelo didn't want to take the stand. So that so they're saying that 10 minutes was not enough because the prosecution's refusal
Mm-hmm.
to go along with the gentleman's agreement changed everything. So that's
Okay.
in essence what it was about.
I mean, honestly, that protects the defendant from being cross-examined because they would have chewed his butt up in
Yeah.
cross-exam. So him not test like him getting up, deciding to not testify was really the defense attorney looking out for him so he didn't get chewed out by the prosecution. Oh, you played chess, you say? So you mean to tell us that you know how to make strategic, critical thinking moves? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So you know the difference between the king and the queen on the chessboard. So
Mhm.
yeah,
By the
this is gonna go into a whole thing.
Another thing that did not show up in this retrial thing were any complaints about the defense. Everybody was saying, "Oh, the counsel was horrible and they did everything wrong." The actual attorneys that Carmelo has are not claiming that Carmelo's attorney did anything wrong. They're
Right.
saying that the whole dealio was kind of gauged against him. So that's another thing to think about. Mike Howard has been really chastised unfairly, in my opinion. I think he did
Oh
a
yeah.
fairly good job given what he had.
Exactly. And that's something they have to remember. Given what he had, the evidence was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
20 credible witnesses, video evidence. You had a weapon and you had a body, and you had, you know, the ability to get whatever physical evidence. And he admitted, like, in a roundabout way of saying it wasn't alleged I did it. Oh, okay. So he didn't ever go in like, that's not me. I wasn't over there. I wasn't sitting over there. No, 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 no. Because you can't
Yeah.
say you acted in self defense if you don't, admit to the act.
Exactly.
So this is, oh man, for the defense attorney, they have a hard job, right? They're already fighting the state. They're trying to do what's in the best interest of their own client. And then if they screw up, it doesn't matter what case it is, they're always the bad guy because
Yeah.
the client still got locked up for 35 years. But
Mhm.
he knew more than likely this probably is going to happen. How do we invoke enough reasonable doubt? That's what the defense attorney's mindset is. How do we poke holes and invoke enough reasonable doubt? Even if we know a client did it, how do we invoke reasonable doubt? They should not have gone with the self-defense angle because it didn't fit. Especially if he walking around here saying, I didn't even do it. What do you mean? See, you
Well,
can't
he
have
never claimed he didn't do it. Those were his fans. There's his supporters were making that
yeah,
claim, and Carmelo's probably saying, "No, no, no, I did it," because if you claim you didn't, you can't claim self-defense.
right.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's go on here. What else is? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
oh yeah, no, I was gonna move on with the here they said pressuring Anthony to waive his right to testify. That whatever
Mhm.
gentleman's agreement, that's common, that happens often in these proceedings, so it's not something unheard of. What they cannot do is ex parte communication.
Right.
But when you got both parties there and they just approached the bench, asked the judge a couple questions. They agreed to do XYZ. That's not illegal, and that's why they're saying allegedly, but that has nothing to do. That's not going to be illegal. And the appellate court judges are going to be like, well, this didn't change the outcome of the case. You all chose to still not put the defense attorney rather chose to not put the client on the stand, and he claimed self-defense. So really, you got to ask yourselves, what would the outcome have been like had he taken a stand? You know that he's going to be subjected to cross exam, so you got to pick your battles. Which one you want? So for number 3, improper jury instruction, allegedly weakening the self-defense defense, which was central to Anthony's case. Well, that weakened when he did not take the stand. So the jury instructions is just, here's the law, here are the requirements, here are a couple of options, murder or aggravation, pick one.
Right. Okay. So let me explain
instructions.
Explain to your viewers what this is about. So in part of the jury instructions that were given to the jury, it talked about provocation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Texas law, according to these attorneys, is that you can't put in a provocation disclaimer or whatever unless you have evidence that reaches a certain level that provocation was an issue. And they're claiming that that evidence was not there, and therefore the jury should not have been given that particular jury instruction. I have another video on that one coming out as well, but that's what that's about.
Okay. Thank you for that. And then cumulative effect, the combination of these errors warrants a new trial in the interest of justice.
I'm sorry, read that again.
These issues alone don't even warrant a new trial.
Oh, okay. That's just a summary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just the cumulative effect of it. Then they have the motion to recuse Judge John Roach. The defense seeks Roach's removal from all post-trial proceedings, arguing his public comments after the verdict showed bias and undermine impartiality.
He's retiring. He's retiring. He doesn't want to do the thing anyway. So he's going to recuse himself. He doesn't want to go through this retrial. He said this was my last big trial. So yeah. So and they'll claim that as a big victory, but he's not going to, if there is a retrial, which almost certainly not going to be, but and if there was, he's not going to be interested in doing it.
Yeah, no. I mean, even if the perception is great when it comes to the impropriety of some level of bias, it is the judge's duty to recuse. So more than likely he would have just recused for the sake of the public interest, and knowing even if he didn't have, like there's no legal reasoning to warrant his recusal, he probably just recused. Just let me just keep living and let somebody else take this on. Because at this rate it'll never end. So alleged problematic statements include saying the jury got it right and defending his decision to dismiss 3 black prospective jurors, defending his ban on cameras, claiming it was to protect the process, witness, and jury. It was. So there's case law to support that. Expressing personal opinions on the trial's fairness and his own rulings. You got to show how he violated canons with that.
Yeah.
And why not just report him to the JQC?
Well,
that's crazy.
Nothing he said in his interview indicated that he did not conduct a fair trial.
Oh yeah, and I've seen it. I know. So, I'm just saying, if they wanted to decry this, wouldn't they have started with trying to file a complaint against him with the JQC? Like they're trying to get the appellate court to address judicial misconduct when that's not the proper venue.
My biggest beef against them is, if you're going to file a motion for retrial, don't spend 3/4 of it talking about stuff that has no chance, like their curfew and the cameras and stuff. I mean, get to your best arguments and put them up front. To be the first or two, because after a while, I'm reading this and I'm just getting tired of reading about, people had to stay in line for 2 hours to get inside. Some people got cut in front of, I don't care. And after a while, it just kind of bogs you down. I
Yeah.
really recommend get to their best arguments and get them up front, and then, you know, but they didn't do that.
Yeah. They
It's
didn't.
not a badly written document. I mean, I've read a lot of really horrible stuff
Oh yeah.
filed by attorneys. It's not
Yep.
badly written, but I just think that was a strategic mistake. I always think get your main ideas, your most powerful statements up front, get them in there, and well, they didn't do that, but
Yeah. And then I
they may
mean,
disagree.
they this goes to show you got what, a team of 6 or 7 attorneys now,
Mm-hmm.
handling this appeal, and this is what they came up with. And it goes to show that the case was airtight and straightforward. The only thing that amplified it was just the racial tensions around it. You take away the aspect of race, and what you have is a very straightforward case where I'm sure the judge even, said to himself a time or two, if you take out the aspect of race, this whole thing it would not have been this highly viewed, or it would not be high profile type of case. And I'm sure the jury would have been able to deliberate and come back within an hour or so. How long would they go on deliberating? 3 hours?
3 hours. 3 hours.
3 hours. That would have been cut in half. If
Well,
it
I don't
wasn't
know,
for
because
taking them looking like they trying to actually really
the jury's going to want to get in their free meal, right? So they're never going to come
right.
back within an hour. They're like, well, look, man, if we come back now, we'll miss out
Oh,
on that
we'll miss lunch.
buffet. I've always wondered what the jury does for like the 3 hours when you have an open and shut case, and I think that they're like, well, we can't go out now. I mean, let's hang around here for a little longer
I know, right?
and
I'm going to the
relax and
bathroom,
stuff.
y'all. I'm be back. I'm going to the restroom. That's how they go. y'all want to go to Chick-fil-A? We're ordering pizza. Child, I mean, 3 hours. Think
That's
about
really
for a
short.
high profile case, 3 hours to deliberate. Okay, that goes to show that that was just open and shut. But
Yeah.
we're gonna get to the videos that you sent over. Oh man, I've never heard of this.
Oh
Who?
no. Oh God. Oh, I'm sorry
Oh,
to
you
your
did it.
viewers. I apologize to your
You did
viewers
it.
ahead of time.
You did it to me. We about to watch this. Y'all,
It,
Johnny
but
Walker Dress sent me this. So if you get irritated, it's not my fault.
and by the way, everybody, if you start getting a headache, that's dementia. It's setting in. Get a Rubik's cube and solve it, because your brain is going to smooth out listening to her. I'm
All right,
telling
is
you.
she an attorney? Let me ask that. Is she an
No,
attorney?
no, no. Oh hell, no. She said that she's going to apply to become one now,
Oh, now
and
she's
like
going to law school
she's
because you
going to
can't apply
planning
to
on
be.
going to law school. Um, she has an IQ of around 70. It's
Oh dear Lord. All right, y'all. This is my first time watching this young lady. So I
I'm
never
sorry.
ever demand anyone agree with everything I say, and I certainly will not agree with everything anyone else says. I don't care if they're black or white. Laws are laws. It's just bottom line. All right. Hit the phone when you can see it here. Let's get to it.
Oh, my notes just fell. Okay, y'all, let's get into it. So I'm gonna give y'all multiple videos a day, because I know we got our Carmelo Anthony people, and I'm a Carmelo Anthony person as
I
well,
never saw this
but
one,
I
Jen.
don't want to miss out on other news and just talk about the Carmelo Anthony stuff. So that's gonna make me work harder, but that's okay.
Ooh.
I can work hard. So let's kind of get into it. Now, yesterday when I did my live, we went over the information as it related to the U.S. Congress representative Pat Fallon. Okay. Now they are saying that his son was there. This changes things, y'all, because it is some stuff going on, and we're starting to think that he may have had a hand in a lot of things. Some of you guys even said in the chat that Pat Fallon was saying all sorts of things about Carmelo, which is actually crazy considering he is a U.S. representative and he should just be quiet. Like, I'm not sure why he would be involving himself. But the folks have been investigating. If you guys recall, I talked about King Cast, King, K-I-N-G, Cast, C-A-S-T. Check him out on YouTube. Check him out on Facebook. I follow him on Facebook and Instagram.
You got to stop it for a
I'm
second.
sorry, on TikTok. I think he does have Instagram. I don't.
I mean, he's
You
a
gonna be
U.S.
alright?
representative, and he should be
Yeah,
quiet
he
about political
just be
events.
quiet. He didn't say anything about this. This is not a political event. This is
Well, I mean,
litigious.
but
This is a
but
legal
it's
matter.
like, but I mean,
Who is
he's
it?
a politician. Of course, he talks about these things.
Oh,
That's
dear
what
Lord.
politicians do. And keep in mind, Alyssa Presley was the one who first came in and claimed that Kyle Rittenhouse was just shooting protesters, and like that was okay with her. I mean, I'm sure she had no problem with that, and she was a representative. But he needs to be quiet. And by the way, did you know that his son was at the track meet? Oh
Oh
no!
no.
Well, oh my gosh! Well,
Oh
I don't
no.
know.
This is
The
such a
jury didn't
conflict.
get to hear that crucial information. Like, who cares?
I didn't
So
even know
yeah,
who you were referring to. I have to look him up. Oh Lord.
yeah. Pat Fallon is like
I
the
don't know who
representative
he
for
is, girl.
that. Yeah, he's MAGA, right? And of course, and his son apparently was on the track. One of the track teams was at the event, and therefore there's conspiracy. I mean,
My
and
Lord.
and they're upset that, but Pat Fallon didn't disclose that information to the public. Like,
Need to. Wait, he's not a party to the case. But he doesn't need to. He does not present a conflict at all. He will not affect the ruling. He's not sitting on the jury. He's not related to the prosecutor or anything. Like, he's not a part of this case. What are you talking about? Oh, this woman. Who is she?
and he could be related to the prosecutor, wouldn't matter, right?
Exactly.
I mean, this is the judicial system, and the executive branch is not, or yeah, okay.
Child.
At any rate, I got that confused up. But at any rate, they're not from the same houses, so it makes no difference. There's no conflict of interest.
Okay, so who is she again? She just does YouTube
Just
videos.
another Willie D.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, Lakeisha.
No, I don't really see his Instagram that much, but check him out. He's doing a host of different content. Now, he did submit this letter basically saying that they have proof that his sons was actually there. This guy was given Jeff Metcalf. Okay, so he was acting a little erratic and acting as if he had some involvement just by some of the things he was saying. And unfortunately, I didn't even know anything about this man. But like I said, when you guys were in the chat, you were actually saying, yeah, he said this. He also went onto his social media and said some very disparaging things about the judge. Now, think about this, guys. Why would a U.S. representative say something about a judge? I mean, because y'all got to think about it like this. When you go on your social media and you target a judge, what you're doing is you're making way for some idiot to feel like they can try to judge. The judge, let me just kind of preface what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the judge in the trial. I'm sorry, the judge in the Carmelo Anthony case, the judge that let him out on, I believe it was a $250,000 bail. This Black lady was targeted, and guess what? She's a Trump supporter. So this how I be trying to let y'all folks know, y'all can be a Trump supporter all you want. They don't put you unless you white, okay? So
dear Lord.
This dude, Pat Fallon, just did a whole bunch of weird stuff. So let's kind of get into it, y'all, okay?
And by the way,
let me just say this before I get into it.
Oh,
This
is just like, okay, so the judge lowered his bond to something very low. I don't have an issue with it because he did show up for his trial. So as far as I'm concerned, great. But the politician went on social media and he disagreed with this judge's lower. And somehow that's supposed to be some sort of violation of something that should have been introduced into the trial.
No, that's not how that works. This girl doesn't know how court works. So I disagree with the judge lowering it only because the judge did get death threats, which I don't agree with at all. I do not.
No, that's ridiculous.
To judges getting, and then you bring in that automatically sparks the FBI. It triggers an FBI investigation when you're sending out death threats to judges. It is unnecessary. She did her job. If the law says for this type of charge, the bond should be $1 million, if I were her, Personally, I would have left it at that and then say, hey, this is what the law says. I'm following it to the T because this case has too much racial tension and it's just too much of a high profile case for me to use any judicial discretion to try to lower this. And then I still get blasted. Like I'm not, no. At least if I stick to the law on it and stay neutral, it might curb it a little bit. So it's because she got the death threats that I say she should have left it based on what the law says. That way, people gonna get mad, but what they should be mad at is you following the law to the letter T, not sitting here using judicial discretion, and then you got to explain that. Not that she doesn't have the right to, but now you have to explain it, and you get all this hostility coming in because you can't make these people acting like they're in a cult. You can't make them happy. And you shouldn't try, just like the other judge said, Judge Roach. I'm not here to please everybody. I'm not here to please any of them.
Oh, by the way, she's the one that's promoting the big message that it was Hunter Metcalf that stabbed Austin.
Oh, and God.
Yeah. And then it changed to Eddie, the other witness that stabbed him. And then it became some poor guy named Carson that they identified. He was the stabber. So she keeps trying to find people that she can pin the blame on for the stabbing. She is, I mean, this is what happens when you grow up without oxygen. I mean, I swear.
She trapped on a whole nother planet, y'all. No air there. Oh, good grief. I'm just like, y'all saying this and that. What are they saying? And who are they? You hear a lot of that when people making stuff up. Who are they? And what did they say again? Oh my God.
Well, it was Hunter was jealous of Austin, and therefore they actually they lured Carmelo into the tent so that Hunter could stab Austin and then blame Carmelo. So this was all part of a plan. And then some of them are saying that this was all carried out under the big planning of Jeff Metcalf, the father, that he arranged all this. I'm telling you, it's really crazy out there.
You can't make this up. This has got to be.
Well, they are. They're doing a very good job of it.
Up. Yeah. This is like a repeat of what I covered with the Charlie Kirk case. Oh, the wife wanted this to happen because Israel and the blah, blah, blah. Like they blame it in everything else. And it's like exhausting. Well, just take some accountability. Carmelo Anthony is guilty. He's in prison for 35 years and none of this hoopla is going to get him out. None of it.
I certainly don't think so. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, Lakeisha.
As it relates to his appeal, the new lawyers, we call them the Dream Team, they are requesting a new trial. Okay. That's one of the things that they're requesting. They want to do over a new trial. Now, what that does not do, what is not doing is giving up his right to appeal. I love it because they're using everything, they're throwing everything that they can. Okay. So they're requesting a new trial, and they are also asking that Judge Roach recuse himself. They don't want him as the judge. Skiddy on the skedaddle, get the hell up out of here. So what they're now waiting on is either he's going to recuse himself or they'll have a hearing. Isn't that weird that a judge wouldn't recuse themselves? So that is what we're waiting for.
That is not weird, girl.
It's not weird at all. In fact, they rarely ever recuse themselves, because they get demands to recuse themselves all the time. Sovereign citizens, man, they do it all the freaking time.
Yeah, you said something I don't like, I'm gonna ask you to recuse yourself. If you don't kick rocks, this is my job. And I'm not here to get you to like me. Like,
oh, by the way, mentioning about the Swiss Army knife, she was also the big proponent that there was no knife involved, that it was a utility tool used to create the tits, even though about like a day later, they showed a picture of the knife from the actual police files. And she never did mention that again, right? So, yeah.
Wow. As opposed to them coming out and saying, yeah, I was wrong about this weapon. It's a whole knife. Yeah, now, let me just ignore it and never say anything about it because I know I was dead as wrong to begin with. It's insane. I've had people. Can you believe people left that comment in my chat talking about how it was a utility item or something? No, that's a knife. I'm not. I know what I'm looking at. We're not going to your alternate reality. We are not going to your alternate reality, to the land of dum dums, for you to tell me that this is a knife, and I know it's a knife, but this is not a knife, but this is a utility too. No, it's a knife, and he should not have had it on him at all going to school property. That's what they keep forgetting. He violated the law when he brought that knife on school property. And attorney Dennis Sperling and I spoke about that this morning, and he was like, that's a good point. Because how many times have people left it in the chat saying, why wouldn't Austin Metcalf just call the police and have Carmelo Anthony removed? Because Carmelo Anthony still would have went to jail, you dumbasses.
Well, I will say this:
having a knife on campus, he would have went to jail. They would have locked him up. We looked up the law on that.
I think that the whole issue of the legality of the weapon was a red herring anyway. Self-defense doesn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, we had a case here where somebody broke into a home and a 12-year-old girl shot the dude dead with a shotgun, right? Mm-hmm. Well, she was in illegal possession of that gun while she was shooting him, but guess what? Nobody cares.
Thank you. It's like, this is, if you got to bring a knife to a track meet, why are you there? Why are you at the track meet if you had to bring a knife? You had the automatic upper hand the moment you pulled that knife out. And Austin Metcalf didn't have a knife to fight you back with. So at the end of the day, you brought in a deadly weapon to school grounds. If they would have called the police and had him removed, never mind all the teachers and the coaches and the staff out there on the field, they could have just had him removed. If they would have called the police, then people would have been saying, oh, they were snitching and blah, 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 blah. But then forget that he had a deadly weapon on school grounds and they would have locked him up. So, and Attorney Sperling was like, that's a good point. That's a good point. And you think about it. He said, yeah. And then I asked him about, committing a crime in the commission of a felony already. Like if he already had a weapon on him and he already was breaking the law, having the weapon, wouldn't that be considered committing a crime while actually still committing another felony at the same time? And so,
well, have the knife on you would not be a felony, even if it was illegal. I will argue with Dennis Sperling that it was not illegal, but whatever. That's another day. But it would not have been a felony. So that's the only way that would have counted.
That's what God. He answered that because I just asked him a question about that. Mm-hmm. If they could have added that on. Now he did cite case law where a student stabbed another student in the bathroom with a knife, and the judge,
case in Allison.
Yes, the judge still gave him 8 years for simply having the reckless, deadly weapon on campus, and so that is why he got 10 years in prison. The judge wanted to ensure that he understood you should not have had that knife on you to begin with. So he said, I could see a scenario where they, had aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And then because he had the weapon on campus, then in the state of Texas, he could have gotten an additional, the terminology he used slips in my mind. But when you guys see the video, you'll understand why I asked that question. Because he said either way, Carmelo Anthony would have at least gotten 20 years. Even if he was left charge plus the weapon on the campus, he would have had a good 20 years either way.
Yeah, it's kind of odd he was never charged for any weapon and how that would have been used as a writer if you haven't even been convicted of that crime. But I don't know how that works beyond my pay scale. Oh, and one more thing. I think it was the fact that he hid the weapon from Austin and then issued a threat. I think that's what actually got him convicted. It was he didn't pull the knife out and say, hey man, stay away from me. Okay. Yeah. He kept it hidden and he lured Austin into a false sense of security and then stabbed him without warning. I think that's what the jury said was, that is BS. I mean, you can't do that.
Yeah,
You know,
weapon enhancement. Thank you, John Mitchell. It was this is the terminology that that slipped my mind that attorney Sperling used. It was the
mm,
deadly weapon enhancement, and that would have given Carmelo another 10 years. So
mhm.
even if he was at aggravated, that deadly weapon enhancement would have added on 10 years, and he still would have gotten at least 20. Yeah, thank you so much, John Mitch. I appreciate that. But that's why I said when you guys see the interview with attorney Dennis Sperling, the
Yeah, I
responses
can't
and the
wait.
information he provided is I mean, even with him explaining, what would have been the difference? Because I was like, what's the difference? The law is a law. I don't see a difference in having a black versus white attorney, when they're just exercising the law. But he gave his reasoning. Some will disagree, but it is what it is. It's his opinion. And
Mhm.
I asked because I heard him say that, well, Carmelo Anthony should have hired a black lawyer. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's ask about that because you mentioned that in a separate video with Willie D Live. And so he did expand on that. And I think, some of the points he brought up regarding the appeal, I was like, is on point because he's like, I don't see this getting an appeal. I just don't, and I love the fact that he was just raw and honest and saying, I don't want killers walking the street. I got kids. I don't want to have to worry about sending my kids to school or track meet or basketball game or football game. And then they turn around and get stabbed. Because you got these kids that's not really, no one is telling Carmelo Anthony, you should not have had the knife. Stay at home. Don't go anywhere. If you got to take a knife with you, keep your behind at home. You need to learn how to control your temper. You have to learn how to walk away. Like those are the things that we should be reiterating. Even just because for the sake of neutrality here. But they don't even want to ensure that, okay, here's a lesson you don't repeat. Learn from this. Teach your kids to have restraint and self-control. And that's been the major message that Attorney Sperling has been, stating and reiterating over and over again. It's a matter of maintaining self-control and discipline. Because had he walked away, Austin Metcalf would be alive. He probably be playing football in college somewhere. They both would be moving on, and that would have been the end of that. They probably would not have even remembered that scuffle.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like, all he had to do was get up and walk away, but he didn't, and he chose to sit here to try to put on this hardcore visage, and that visage is gonna fall real quick when he realizes it's been like a good year in prison. Yeah, go in there if you want to, thinking you're gonna just tell somebody to get up. Yeah, good luck to that. So
Well, the real problem is though that people are learning the wrong lesson from this.
yeah,
Most of the pro Carmelos are saying the real lesson here is you don't put your hands on other people. No, the real lesson here is that you don't go stabbing people just because somebody
exactly.
pushes you. And
Thank you.
and the reason why the reason why you don't is because of what you said. Carmelo didn't get off scot-free here. He's spending 35 years because he made the decision that you said was a good idea. No, it's
Yep.
not a good idea to pull a knife and
No,
stab somebody over something minor.
thank
And
you.
but to them, he's a sacrificial lamb. They don't care about him. They don't care about Carmelo. I mean,
Yeah.
they basically want Carmelo released from this because the political side. They score a victory against their political opponents if Carmelo gets off. They don't care if Carmelo is guilty or not.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's just to prove a political point. And it's sad because a child lost his life. And I as a mother, man, that is hard to stomach. Hard to stomach losing your kids. You should not have to worry about your kids, you burying your kids. But that's the worst thing. And even in the other situation with the Nolan Wells case, he lost his life. But this is why you look at things fairly from, a legal stance and not from a racial stance, because you want justice to prevail either way.
Mhm.
And these are two kids that have now lost their lives, and for what? Can't make this up. All right, Lakeisha.
As it relates to the appeal. But what I want to talk to y'all about because I want y'all to pay attention to what's happening here. One of the things, we know that they didn't allow cameras in the courtroom. Now that we're seeing this play out, we understand why, because that was a part of their plan, okay? The gag order, which prohibited them from talking about the case. But we know that the Metcalf side talked about the case, but the Anthonys wasn't allowed to talk about the case. And I'm saying after they did the press conference, they were not able to talk. Okay. All of these things worked against them. Everything worked false against them. Okay.
Yeah, that's wrong.
That is false. Jeff Metcalf had a gag order. Thank you. Had a gag order against him. What is she talking about? He was on the gag
There was
order.
A gag order against everyone, and as far as I can tell, everybody obeyed it. I have no idea what she's talking about. But guess what? What difference does it make? That didn't get Carmelo convicted.
Not at all.
This
is insane. So you're saying that he violated the gag order? Because yeah, don't you think that his counsel would have used that against him?
The real violation probably occurred by the Anthonys through Charleston White, because Charleston White spent a lot of time pushing conspiracy theories and everything like that that seemed to have been directed by Carmelo's dad. But it didn't affect the outcome of the trial, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Exactly. So what's she talking about? Oh, child. Lakeisha, oh, girl.
Another thing I want you guys to understand. The case is now over. Okay. Carmelo is exercising his right to an appeal. But even right now, today, guys, they have not released the autopsy. They have not released the unedited video. They have not released the police camera footage. Now, I want y'all to understand, numerous people, including myself, have requested multiple things, including the transcripts. And I have heard nothing, okay? So why do you think, if they say that Carmelo is truly guilty, I mean, he was found guilty, but we don't believe it, right? But why would they hold this type of evidence? I mean, I talk about cases all the time. I always get autopsies, I get videos, and it's a smooth process. In most cases, they'll tell you how much you got to pay, and that's it. But in this case, they're stalling, they're holding the information, and they're not releasing it. When I did my video yesterday and I read the police report, one of the things that I highlighted, y'all, I said the crime scene was contaminated. Now, I'm not a police officer, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm not stupid. The crime scene was definitely contaminated by multiple things. For one, they had way too many people over there, okay? They did not preserve the crime scene. People left. And remember I told you, and just waltzed into the police station and made a complaint. I don't understand how they did not set up some kind of structure where everybody over here was a witness and you cannot move. You can't go nowhere, witness. If you gotta pee, we gotta walk you to the bathroom, okay? So I don't understand how that happened, but the entire scene to me
that's not how this works. That's not how this works. You don't have to assume how crime scene investigators process a crime scene. You can look that up. And all I get is some understanding. Why just not read and Google how do you process a crime scene?
If you call EMS, your crime scene is contaminated because those guys will kick stuff around. Your shell casings will get knocked over to the other side of the room. But the point is that it was up to the defense to produce evidence of crime scene contamination, as it would have affected the actual outcome of the trial. We already had a trial. You can't just dream up this crime scene contamination after the fact. You're not going to force everybody to stay there and walk them to the bathroom. No. Well, she's been watching too much TV. Right?
The actual weapon was found in a trash can. And he was stabbed. You're not talking about gunshots throughout a whole school building. None of that stuff. You know, you don't have to do ballistics. Like what crime scene?
Oh, by the way, the knife was found on the bleachers. It wasn't in the garbage can.
Oh, it was
You've
in
been
the
hearing
bleachers. I'm
people.
sorry.
Well,
Thank you.
you've been
Correct.
hearing another
In
conspiracy
the
theory that one of the people that were involved hid the true weapon inside a garbage can, and there's no evidence of that. They found the knife on the bleachers. They took pictures of it, and the defense never countered any claim that that was the actual weapon. So guess what? All this,
Yep.
you know, you can't preserve a crime scene perfectly. It's EMS is going to have to come in and yeah, right. And it starts to rain, so they put a tarp over the top of the weapon, and they moved the actual tent over Austin because you know, and to her, well, that's crime scene contamination. No,
that's not how that works. That's like think about a multi-vehicle crash. Okay, when you have like 3 cars have a horrible accident, and 3 cars end up being crashed, and you got one flip over, you got another one that swirls around and spins, and you got another one that gets knocked backwards across the street. Until everybody comes to a complete stop, you're going to have people still drive through that right away. I mean, in the first 20, 30 seconds of that, you're still going to have traffic flowing. And then if somebody's able to move or get up or get out their car, they will. People are going to stop, pull over, get up and get out their cars. Then you're going to have the police come out, and then they're going to start from that point redirecting traffic. But they're walking through this the whole time. Based on the environment, the feasibility of you being able to preserve this crash the way it is, everybody has to freeze in time. Oh, stop, think about it. You know, nobody can move, so we can't go to the bathroom. Nope, stay right there. You got to stay in your car just like this. You got this airbag blowing your face in. You got to stay like this. Can't move because you got to preserve the crime scene. She doesn't understand how crime scenes are processed. And it's you got to think about the environment. What are the weather conditions? I mean, if you want to be honest, you know, it was raining. You got a knife that hit the bleachers. It was already wet and raining. So the fact that it was raining, wouldn't that still contaminate it? Because you rinsing off?
Sure, absolutely.
DNA from the knife. I mean, but the dense. It's just so dense. It's like that's not how this works. God, just look it up.
Well, going to your crime scene thing, she's the one that would want all the steering wheels fingerprinted, right? They didn't fingerprint. Well, you know, you can't prove that he was a driver. Well, it was his car, and he is on video getting out of it, but they didn't fingerprint the steering wheel. Oh God, yeah, she's the one that when you get, you know, your bicycle stolen, she wants the police to fingerprint everything, right? You're not going to take prints. No, it's a bicycle stolen. We're not going to fingerprint everything, lady.
Doing that, it costs money to process a crime scene, but there's not much to process when you have a body and you have the weapon right here. And it was not a shooting. They don't have to do ballistics. They don't have to do any of that. They just go and they will photograph the knife. They will photograph any like blood splatter spots or whatever they see. You know, and then from there, the prosecution determines what would be necessary to use in the case.
Yeah, exactly.
They take a lot of photos, but they may not use them all. So all this hoopla she's talking about is unbelievably stupid.
Right. If the prosecutor didn't introduce any DNA evidence on the knife, that doesn't mean they didn't do the DNA test. It just means that the DNA test came back and oops, my client is DNA's on it, so they're not going to bring it up, right?
You gotta make sure you process that for the Carmelo Anthony's fingerprints. How do we know the fingerprints went on or not? He admitted to stopping him. What are you talking about? His claim was self-defense. That means he had to admit to the act.
That's
so
right.
Naturally,
exactly.
If we were to do a fingerprint test analysis, it'd be a waste of money because he said he did it.
But here's the thing that they're not catching. if I'm a defense and I bring in DNA and I try to bring in DNA argument, the judge is going to come back and say, "Hey, wait a minute, you're not claiming self-defense? Are you saying that it wasn't your client? Because if that's the case, I'm not giving a self-defense instruction to the jury."
Thank you. That's the thing. It's based on what their claim is. He has to admit to the crime. It's the act of killing someone in order for him to claim self-defense in a murder with murder charges. He can't go back and say, "Well, y'all didn't get my fingerprints on that knife." What you mean? So you weren't holding a knife? Was it another knife? Where's that one at? We can't make this up. The crime scene was fancy, y'all. Somebody's dog came and peed on it.
And this is why all these conspiracy theories are not going to see the light of day. The defense is not going to introduce them, because if you try to introduce any kind of conspiracy theory that makes it seem like your client didn't actually do the stabbing, your self-defense argument goes out the window, and they won't even let the jury even consider it. So yeah, I know. Oh gosh. This is a case. Oh, by the way, we're seeing the same thing with the Nolan Wells deal, where it's like, why aren't the police questioning the witnesses? Well, how do you know they're not?
Oh, dear Lord.
Are they doing DNA testing? Maybe they are.
There was one witness so far that said that he had not talking to the sheriffs or anything, but I'm sure now they know he exists, so they'll probably reach out to him. But I mean, you got to think about all these so-called witnesses if they were there. And you know how many people were there out there at the beach with Nolan Wells? If they haven't been able to get to all the people that were there, they're going to get to the ones that were relevant, that experienced firsthand account whatever argument was happening, whatever was going on. Those are the witnesses they're going to try to get to. You know, some witness that was on the other side of the beach and they were just hearing some commotion. That you have to be credible. So you need to be able to give an accurate, detailed firsthand account. If you weren't even there, you didn't see or hear anything, but you were just on the beach, they're not trying to reach out to you. You're not
right.
You can't give a credible account of what occurred because you didn't see or hear it. That's what they don't like. This stuff that people can read and research, she's not even trying.
But even beyond that, it's like, why aren't you questioning this dude who is just on Willie D's live stream, who's claiming he saw what? Well, maybe because he's not a credible person, so the police have no interest in interviewing him. Remember the guy? Remember the punch that dude? And he punched that dude. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a reason why neither the prosecution or the defense even bothered to find out who that dude was, because it was pretty clear he didn't see anything. He was lying through his teeth. And a lot of these people that are coming forth about the Nolan Wells deal are just nothing but liars. And they're trying to, they see that, they think that these boys are guilty. And if only they had just a little more evidence. Well, I know, I will go in and claim that I saw this too. And then we saw that with the Michael Brown deal, where, I can volunteer that I saw it and that'll help things along. But then when it comes to grand jury time, you got to go under oath. They leave, they split. And so, it's many people will absolutely come out and lie to the media about what they saw. But when it comes to when the police come knocking, they all of a sudden disappear or they change their argument.
Yep. With the quickens. All right, Lakeisha, let's get back to this. This is a weirdo girl.
Okay.
No.
So what this tells me is they did a poor job as it relates to this case and the scene. Another thing I noticed in the police report is that they said that there was buses of athletes. The first thing came to my mind. I said, I know that they did not talk to everybody on those buses. For one, I knew it would have took forever. For one, they didn't want to do it, because really what they should do, or they should have done, is put those people off and talk to them one by one, and they never did. In fact, I don't even think they got their names, because they could have heard something. So the entire thing,
oh my dear Lord,
is really unbelievable. It was very unbelievable. Now, I know I did share with you guys yesterday in the police report where it said, and I put it on the screen and I said, listen, if y'all want to take screenshots of it, go right ahead, but you're going to have to struggle to read it because it's very small. Now, what we learned in the
she's
police
going to struggle
report,
to read it regardless.
Is that after they took Carmelo to the station, they had made up in their mind that he was going to stay in jail because there was no other suspect. They said he did it. They got his clothes, okay? Made him take off the clothes he had on, put his clothes in a plastic bag, and then they took the clothes out of the police station and met up with, I guess, whoever, I don't know what the name is for that particular individual. I may have it because I know I did take it, put it in my notes, but for the sake of me looking for it, the police actually took the clothes, and in the police report, it stated that they took Carmelo's clothes out of the police station, put it in the trunk, and met up with whoever that took the clothes. Now, somebody told me that that's okay because that's what they do. I ain't never heard of that. Where I'm from, they have everything right there in the police station. So I've never heard of that. So maybe that was okay, but to me, it seemed very...
Girl, you've never heard of that? It's called processing. They gave it to investigators to go process it. Oh, dear God. They have to make sure that they get the DNA evidence off of it. Carmelo, if he had any blood or DNA, and Austin Metcalf's blood. What the hell? It's called processing. That's how that works. What do you mean?
And by the way, my brain is starting to really hurt here. But here is an example of where they see the cops do X. Therefore, that's the first time I've ever heard of that. They should have done Y instead because I'm the expert, right? And so no matter what the cops do, they're going to say that was what they should not have done because this is all about trying to poke holes in arguments, right? But in reality,
make this up.
The defense needs to create a scenario. Just tearing arguments apart won't cut it in this kind of case. But they don't have one. They don't have any really good explanation as to how in the hell Austin is laying there with a stab wound and their client is admitting he did the stabbing, and they don't... There's no scenario you can make that's going to have somebody else being the responsible party. So, and the fact that when you stab somebody in the heart and then run, you may not end up with his blood on you.
Right.
I mean, now Eddie probably had, some of his blood on him, maybe Hunter, because they're trying to help him, right? They're trying to save his life. They don't understand that. They think whoever has the most blood on them is the guilty party. But the EMS guy is the one who did the stabbing, by the way. Exactly. You found out. The EMS guy.
It's like you have someone that already admitted to this. It's once you've eliminated like all the suspects out of the way, you're talking about a straightforward stab. It was not like a use of multiple weapons or anything like that. You don't have to do gunshot residue tests. There's no gun that was used. So you're just talking about a knife that was found on the bleachers. And if he admitted to it, honestly, it's a lot of evidence, physical evidence that they will not need to gather. All they need is really the witnesses, the video footage, the weapon itself, and of course, the medical autopsy that lines up with the injuries incurred. Those injuries help to support the murder charge because of the fact that you used a weapon in a way that caused serious deadly bodily injury or harm, and or knew that what you were doing was going to cause a loss of life. He knew stabbing him in the chest was going to cause a loss of life because that's where your heart is. At the very least, you puncturing major arteries and blood, veins that's flowing through the heart and the lungs. The death that he didn't do it was a hard death, and it's like half that stuff, there are requirements they check off when they process a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and by the way, I should mention the statute says that you had to have known that this was going to cause serious injury,
exactly,
not killing him. So
right.
he didn't have to. If he had stabbed him somewhere else in the stomach, he could have still been convicted of murder.
That's why I say it would have had to cause or inflict deadly bodily harm and injury to the body, meaning wherever like you said, wherever he got stabbed at, if it causes some sort of deadly injury to where the one of the most assured results would be an actual loss of life, that fits the bill for the murder charge based on the Texas Penal Code. There are certain things that they will not need in order to say we have sufficient evidence to meet the criteria for this charge. So having to interview 40 students and all this stuff, and for what? Collect their names? What do you mean? These are minors, first of all. God, that's not how this works. What do you mean? Like that, why do we need to sit down and talk to everybody that was out there? If they didn't see it, didn't they have a witness on the defense that ended up admitting on the stand that he didn't even see what happened? And he was sitting one bleacher down from the incident?
They called 5 witnesses, and all 5 of them gutted their arguments.
Yeah.
And so,
one of them when he wasn't even watching, so he had to change his while on the stand by saying, "Well, I wasn't looking at the scuffle, I just heard it." And by the time he turned around, Austin had already been stabbed. So you interviewing everybody that was out there and they didn't see or hear the commotion is irrelevant. That is a great waste of time and resources. It doesn't make sense. And the prosecutor would not use all of those statements either way. Most of them probably would say, "Well, I didn't see anything." Oh, okay, well, we don't need you. Go home. Goodbye. Yeah, you got these kids already traumatized. They just witnessed someone get stabbed, and then they find out that this boy lost his life out there on the field. And
in many cases, they're just going to take the person's name down and interview them later.
Right.
Because there's just too many people. I mean,
yeah.
And people are real distraught. I mean, I understand why you want to get certain testimonies from certain people right away. But with a lot of people, it's better if you just take their name and have them come in later and tell their story. But I will say I'm a little tired of her already. You want to move on to somebody else? Because I mean, I'm afraid that I'm going to end up with a serious cognition problem if I keep listening to her.
Oh, then she goes on about Donald Trump
and all that. It's just
send money to the channel, send me cash apps and blah blah blah. And
exactly.
The rest of this is a whole music video. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This could have been like 8 minutes.
Right, oh no. Let's go back to the other one.
Listen, if y'all thought y'all were irritated on Lakeisha, you're gonna definitely be irritated with Willie D. So we're gonna
get. And by the way, we should introduce. This is going to be about Nolan Wells. So I want everybody to at least understand that.
Yeah, this is regarding Nolan Wells. He's a young man that I think 18 years old. It was found deceased.
I think he was 18.
Yeah, on the beach in Mississippi. Went out boating with 3 other. I don't know if they were classmates or how he knew them. Maybe they
were longtime friends.
Okay, cool. So 3 longtime friends went out for the 4th, and he was found missing. And then, he was reported missing, and then he was found deceased 2 days after he went out there. The problem is that you had these factors to come in where they took his phone and his car keys. And then when the father goes to get these things, the boy lies to his face. I think one of his name is Jack. Lied to the father's face about having, Nolan Wells' car keys. And why are you lying about something? You that's theft of property. No matter how anybody put it, because I'm gonna call it square for square in any case. That is theft of property. That was not his car, his keys, or his phone. And so taking his car keys and phone and not giving it over to the parents, and they know it did not belong to them. And then they want to lie to the father's face when he go there to get the car and the keys. And they lied about where the keys were. The father could have filed a police report for theft. Because now you're withholding my property from me. And you have no reason to have it in your possession to begin with. Why didn't they drive the car to the father's house and give them the phone? Why would the 18-year-old Nolan Wells, why would he not have his own phone on him?
Okay, I think I can answer some of these questions. So here is what I think happened. Now, keep in mind, this is a theory that's not designed to get people thrown in jail. Right. So this is going to be a little bit more, at least I'm bending over backwards to explain what happened without incriminating people. But these boys went out with Nolan to this island. And they spent only, the boys spent only about an hour there when they noticed there was something wrong with the boat. So they want to head back. Nolan wanted to stay. He had met a girl, for whatever reason, he wanted to stay there. So the boys came back. Now, my gut feeling is that the car keys and the phone were on the boat. So when they got on the boat and headed back, Nolan had forgotten that his car keys and phone were on there. Okay, so they come back. Nolan isn't with them, and they didn't know that anything had happened to Nolan at all. All of a sudden, Nolan never shows up. And 2 days later, his body washes up on the shore. So, in my opinion, the reason why these boys didn't go to the parents with the phone and with the car keys was they didn't think there was anything wrong. They didn't know that Nolan had turned up missing. This whole idea that they lied to the father and all that, I think that may be a story coming out of Ben Crump. I don't know if that's actually factual because I don't recall the father actually saying that. I think Ben Crump made that.
No, he said that. The father did say that. Oh, in the press. Yeah. The father said that in the presser that he and 2 or 3 other kids went with him. 2 or 3 other people went with him to the boy Jack's house. And they have a phone call log where one of the boys was talking to the girl who was there at the house that had left, and he had reached out to her, and she was the one that told the friend that was with the father that the keys were on top of the Xbox or the PlayStation. She was able to tell them exactly where the car keys were after the boy lied to the father and said, "Oh, okay, the keys are not here." And then he goes back after the friend calls this girl that was there, and they have cameras. So you can get surveillance cameras from the cameras around the house, and the car was sitting in the driveway in the yard. And the boy, the young man that was there with him, when they got off the phone with the girl that was there with Jack at Jack's house, that's when they told the dad, "I just got through talking to this girl so-and-so. She was just here. She said she saw the keys on top of the Xbox." So he goes back to the door and he says, "I just talked to so-and-so. She was here. She said the keys are on top of the Xbox. Why would you just not give me the keys?" First of all, even if you think my son wanted to stay behind, which is crazy that he would leave his phone. Because I don't know any 18-year-old that would leave his phone. And this is speaking as a mother with 2 boys one is about to turn 18. They're not leaving their phone. And I have taught them not to do that. But why would you not drive the car to his father's house or call the father and say, "Hey, can you come and pick up your son's car? His phone is in it, and we'll stand here and wait with the keys because he wanted to stay behind, and we can't get in touch with him. We have no way to call him." You know, I would not have wanted someone to take my son's car to their house and then lie to me about not having the keys in his house when someone else that was there was able to tell one of the friends the keys up there on top of the Xbox. Why are we lying about it? First of all,
I have no idea. I mean, that makes no sense at all to me either. But here's the point I'm making. If these boys were involved in murdering, let's say, Nolan, I'm just going to throw the phone and the car keys into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I take them with me? If this phone has incriminating stuff on me, it's going to end up in the Gulf Coast. I mean, I'm just going to chuck it overboard, and they would never find it.
I mean, yeah, if you're trying to hide it, yeah, that's what most people would do.
Why would they keep the keys? I mean, I would just throw them in the ocean. Problem solved.
I have no that's so and that's the thing is you have to explain the car. Yeah, it is all around, and I think the kids lawyered up, which is their right to do that.
Oh, it's smart. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, I think the father, in order to ensure you have this documented properly, if the father went out there to the kid's house where he saw his car sitting in the driveway, you didn't drive this car to my house. It's been sitting here for 2 days, and they, according to the father, they washed the car. What are you doing? So why not just call me and tell me to get my son's car that I pay the car insurance on? You don't pay the bill. You don't pay for the tag. You don't put the gas in the car. You don't pay for the repairs. Why is it sitting at your house? And then you tell me that the keys weren't here. And then I have to find out from a third party that actually here sitting on top of a gaming system. At that moment, I would have called the police out there to document it. Because, see, this is the thing with I don't like doing conspiracy theories. I don't. This is why police should have intervened. Because now you have a police report and body camera footage, and you can document the entire incident. And that way, when you're out, you can say, no, we got police body camera footage. We had the police come out, and they admitted to the police that they lied and they didn't give me the keys right away. All of this is now documented. And we have video evidence from the police that came out to the house. That's what I would do. I would document everything accurately. Record. If you don't want to do a personal recording, call the police and say, I got to go to this person's house to collect my son's stuff. I need an escort because I don't want any issues. And I need an incident report if something goes wrong, or at least be able to FOIA your body camera. They will do that. So at this point, to eliminate unnecessary back and forth and speculations, I would document everything. Let me get the police out here to escort me to pick my son's car up, because I feel something's off. Their stories are changing. And now, to keep everything straight and on the record, let's go out there with the police. And that's the safest way to do it, the best way to do it. That way, anything happens, you got police body cam footage. Does that make sense? Hit the phone.
Yeah. I mean, I could see maybe an accident where the boys panicked and decided, let's not tell anybody about what happened. That could happen. I mean, I'm be willing to entertain that. I also think that maybe he met with foul play on the island by somebody else. And these kids didn't know about it until later. But other than that, I mean, I don't think that these three boys had anything to do with his death. I really don't. We'll see. By the way, Sherry says the mom said she 360'd the phone and went and got the phone. That's true. She did.
Yeah, no, that. The phone was retrieved by the mom's friend, but the keys in the car was retrieved by the father and two other people. So, because the mom had
that one I don't know about. Yeah.
She said in the presser that she did not want to go with him to pick the car up because she was already, kind of, which is understandable. She was just kind of out of it. But the father went with two other people to the house, and he called them Jack. And he saw the car in the yard, or parked in the yard or driveway, whatever. And the father went and got the keys. The mother was not there. So the father went and got the keys. So they talked about this at the presser. I actually did, after my interview with Dennis Sperling, I did a pre-recorded video where I covered a couple of videos on that. And these are the same questions I asked then. Why didn't the father just call the police? If you think he's lying about hiding or harboring keys and stuff to a vehicle that does not belong to him, call the police, and then that way you can get it documented. That way we don't have to speculate anything. We can just watch the police.
I mean, I don't need no police. I know how to handle this. I'll get that phone. Or I'll get those keys. I know how to handle these punks. I can see that. I mean,
I can see that too. But I think when
it might have been a mistake, but still.
Even so, but here's the thing. That's where, at the end of the day, why did they just contact the father? I'm thinking as a parent, contact me if something happens to my son, and then make sure I get my son's vehicle. Why is it sitting here? Why didn't you try to give me my son's vehicle? Who told him to drive it? Why did drive somebody else's car? I don't think the parents would have approved for them to drive away his car. That's my thing. Either my son's driving it or that it's gonna sit there. Who are these people driving my child's car? That's how I'm thinking right now. I'm not gonna sit here and let my son's friends just go hop in my son's car like that, and I don't even know they driving it. What if they would have had an accident? Now I got to worry about my insurance going high sky because you done got an accident in my son's car, and I don't even know you driving it. Like these questions come in my head, not accusations, but questions that I'm thinking of along the way. Like that wouldn't make sense because I wouldn't want anybody driving my son's car off anywhere either way, and I shouldn't have to go to nobody's house to go get my son's vehicle. That's how I feel about it. If you drive my son's car, or call me, and I will come and pick me and my son's father will come and get my son's car. That's what should have happened. So for them to just feel so comfortable to just drive his car to their house. And then to sit and say, well, the keys, the keys are not here. But how did you get the car here?
You see what I'm saying? I'll tell you this though. If I was involved in the death of that dude, the last thing I'm going to do is take his car to my house. I mean, none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense.
It doesn't. And this is because it doesn't. It's too much speculation, too much room to speculate. This is why I say I would cover the bases by ensuring that if I do run into a wall or there's any level of hesitation for something like that, I would have had the police go out there and escort me, period. Just for protection and recording purposes. Not because you want somebody to go to jail, because I just want this documented properly.
Wait a minute. There might be something here, though. I'm going to put together a scenario here, and I don't know if this makes any sense at all, but let's say that Carmelo left his keys on the boat. So they come back, and now they have these keys. What do they do with them? They can't, they're going to take the boat back with them. So they can't, so they got to do something with the keys. So getting in the car and just driving the car to your house and saying, hey man, once we find out where he is, we'll drive the car back and pick him up. That makes sense, because you can't leave the keys on the ground. And yeah, you could maybe leave it on one of the tires, but then the kid would not know where to look for him. He doesn't have a cell phone, so there's no way to communicate with him. So maybe saying, look, what are we going to do with these keys? We can't just leave them here on the shore.
No, I wouldn't. I would have called his parents before I left and say, your son does not want to leave, and we got his phone and his keys, and we don't have a way of communicating with him. He's still over there at the water, and we have an issue going on with our boat. Did they not have a way to call the parents? Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Did the kids not have a way to contact his parents to say, we cannot get in touch with your son because we have his phone. We don't know who these people he over there hanging out with, some girl, we don't have a number. So can you all come out, one of you all come out and get the car keys at the very least and his phone? And then that way, if anything happens, now all of that goes back on the parents. Does it make sense? Because then that way they can be fully removed from the situation. And the parents got the phone and the keys and the car in their possession. And then maybe the parents could have noticed, okay, he didn't come back over here. Or, we can go over there and try to find him. What was wrong with the boat?
The building pump was not working. So it had no way to pump water out that got into it.
How did you get the boat back on the other side?
Well, I think that the issue was that I don't know, but they probably, the boat might have been taking on some water. So let's scoop the water out now and get the boat back while we can. But at any rate, the mother of one of them said that was the problem with the boat, was the bilge pump was no longer working.
Okay.
I'm not a boater, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, me either. That's why I was like, what was wrong with the boat?
But if they had no way of contacting the parents, then I think I think them one of them getting into the car and driving it back to the house was a sensible thing to do. I don't know what
Okay.
else they could have done.
I mean, I aside from calling the parents to say, hey, we got your son's phone, keys, and car. Can y'all come get it? We got
Mm-hmm.
issues going on with the boat, and we got to get the boat repaired or however. I would have called the parents and let them take it from there. I honestly would have if I truly did not want to be connected with this and there's something going on weird. We got a boat to fix. Your son wanted to stay. I would have contacted the parents and left it at that. And waited till they got there. Once they got there, then they get his keys, car, and phone and all of that, and then they go from there. I think that's I'm not saying everybody thinks like me, but I would have handled it that way. No, let's call
Well,
his mom and daddy. Uh-uh.
I probably would have agreed, but being adolescents and maybe a little drunk, who knows? Maybe they just weren't thinking straight.
Yeah.
But the idea that they took his car back with them doesn't seem quite so wild if you think about it. I mean, that's probably would I have done either. But again, if they were involved in his death in some way, they're not taking his car with them. I mean,
I would not touch it.
Yeah, I would not touch it. So, but again, we have to keep in mind a bunch of kids having some booze down them. They're not going to think rationally. I mean,
understood.
Okay. Well, you want to go ahead and play Willie here?
Yeah, Willie's gonna try to. We haven't seen this, so it's gonna be the first time for both of us, y'all. So y'all bear with us.
Oh wow! Oh God.
ET Live.
What's up, family? Nolan Wells was an 18-year-old college football player whose tragic death following a 4th of July boat trip has drawn intense national media attention and an ongoing active investigation. A wide receiver for Southwest Mississippi Community College and a former player at Ocean Springs High School, Nolan went missing during a holiday celebration on Horn Island, Mississippi. His body was recovered on July 6th, leading his family and prominent civil rights leaders to publicly challenge early official narratives surrounding his disappearance. So what are early official narratives surrounding Nolan's disappearance? Well, what about the fact that the boys, who he called friends, ghosted him? They say Nolan ghosted them, but here's the deal. Nolan was with a girl who says that he left her to go back to be with his friends on the boat. They told authorities that Nolan left them to go be with the girl. Well, since Nolan was last seen by them, who do you believe?
I just wish
he had another friend who had possession of his keys. The mother says that they went to the house, the dad went to the house looking for the keys. Dude said he didn't have them. And some things happened along the way that it made them believe otherwise. So they went back and they retrieved the keys from the guy who said, this so-called friend who called Nolan a brother, by the way. Say he's like a brother to me. Really? Yeah. So anyway, fam, the family conducted a press conference with Al Sharpton and Ben Crump. And here's what the mother had to say first.
Feel the tension. He could feel that something wasn't right. So he was just a special kid. Like he was
Let me tell y'all something right now. And I said this in my pre-recorded. You got to teach your kids that everybody is not your friend and to use discernment. You feel something is off, just say no and don't go. Is that simple?
Yeah, but
because if he's known these kids for a while and he felt like there's something off about this particular situation, if they love him like a brother, they would be like, okay, cool, we'll catch you on the next one. You know, I mean, if she's saying he felt something was off and it was a little tension or whatever, it's okay to tell them, no, I'm not in the mood today. I'm just hang out with, my homeboys over here and we're going to grill out. And I'm sure they would have understood. They probably would have went out there, had fun, did whatever. The boat would have acted up. Same things would have happened with the boat. Like, it's okay to say no.
Okay, but I will say this.
Go ahead.
In my opinion, this is
Mhm.
not her talking. This is Al Sharpton and Ben Crump. They've gotten into this. And I'm telling you, once they get involved, they'll tell you what to tell the public. And Ben Crump is especially bad at this. I mean, the Rasheem Carter case in Mississippi, where he went in and fabricated a whole argument that Rasheem had been threatened by his boss and all that. And the mother got up there and said the same thing. And that boss and his family had to go into hiding because he got everybody, even though the police said we ran his cell phone. That boss was at the construction site. He was nowhere near the location of the body because they tracked his phone. God. But I think the guy still might be in hiding. I don't know. But that's how Ben Crump operates. So when she's saying, I knew, my son told me that there was something off, Ben Crump is telling her to say those things because, and explain why. He sees 3 rich families, and if he can pin murder on them, he can make a lot of money. If it's a drowning, he makes nothing. And so and if you saw the interview with on Good Morning America, he was there pumping out the suspicion, always interrupting to make sure that the parents are staying on board with the I think something, I think these boys might have had something to do with it. So that's what I think is happening here.
I think I checked out the Good Morning one, and I kept saying, where's the video evidence of the house? I'm sure they have some sort of, Ring camera installed at the front door that can pick up the conversation and all of that at this house. Why not just get the video camera footage? Like, ask the parents, can you all share the video camera footage of this interaction? The father came to the house about the car keys. He said something about the boy saying, no, he's not here, and blah, blah, blah. Let's solve that right now and put out the video surveillance footage right there above the front door or at the front door. Why not just ask for that?
Right.
Or get a subpoena for it if you have to. Like, why leave that to speculation? That was what I was asking the whole time. They were sitting there, and he does. I don't follow Ben Crump like that, so all the stuff you're telling me is like my first time hearing about all this stuff. He's not somebody I just follow, and I don't watch all his news press conferences. I don't, he's just another attorney to me. So I'm not familiar with Ben Crump.
Well, here's his favorite tactic.
He needs to calm down. If he's out here lying, because people are not gonna take kindly to that. That's a horrible reputation to build.
Well, here's his tactic. When he gets in and he injects what he wants the public to hear, knowing that the family members don't have the gumption to say, now, Ben, that's not really what happened. He knows they're not going to say that. And so they're going to nod their head, and he's going to take advantage of that and get that narrative out. I'm telling you, he was on Rashad Ritchie's channel one time, blatantly lied about a case in Texas that involved a police shooting. And I proved that it was a lie, and he knew it was a lie. Ben Crump is all about this type of, sensationalism, because he gets money off of suspicion. He needs to keep the suspicion high, and he'll tell these family members, look, I mean, I understand how you feel, but we really need to get this thing going here. So look, let's keep this, this narrative going that those boys didn't give up those car keys, right? He's going to tell them that. It's all about strategy. He sees money.
I know, right, Jim? Sound like a grifter. Nah, don't tell me he's going to call himself Minister of Justice as well. Isn't he bar licensed? He's a bar license attorney,
Ben Crump is a legitimate attorney. I checked into his background. There's nothing up about his law training. I mean, he's a competent lawyer. Right. He's just underhanded.
Oh my God. See, and this is where the difference comes in with being a great attorney versus going into that realm where you're trying to be overzealous for your client, it comes out when you just flat out lying. It doesn't work. At the end of the day, these judges are watching these YouTube videos. They're watching your pressers. They're watching what you do out in the public view. If you go out here and lie and then you put people's lives in danger, they end up getting death threats and all this other stuff. You think that judge gonna take you seriously when you go in? Like they let's say he has a good track record in the courtroom. Outside the courtroom, you suck because you're getting people caught up with death threats. Like you can't. No, it's still your credibility on the line here.
Well, Ben
you can
Crump
still maintain some level of integrity. Why is he doing all of these press conferences then?
Check out the story of Jaheim McMillan in Mississippi, where Ben Crump told everybody in a press conference that Jaheim McMillan came out of the store with his hands up, and the officer just shot him dead. Then later, the body cam came out. No, Jaheim came out with 2 guns in his hand, and there's no doubt about it.
Crazy.
But Ben Crump, man, he'll say anything he can. Keep in mind, he's a civil rights attorney. So why is he involved in this right now? He's involved in it because as a civil rights attorney, he sees a way to make money. He's not a criminal attorney. So why is he involved in this at this stage? You know why.
This is my introduction to Ben Crump with this one. So the ambulance chasing is not going to get you anywhere, and just gets people hurt and divided, and they steer away from the facts. Like video evidence will be facts. Just get the video evidence. Let us see the interaction that the father had with this Jack kid at the front door. They got cameras. Get the camera footage. Like, dude, there's no reason to embellish. That's my whole thing. You don't need to lie about it if you have video evidence. Let's just see the video. Let us see the video evidence. And then we take it from there and we get out of it what we get out of it. I would rather have the facts put before me and the evidence than sob stories. If it's not true, if you're known to fudge and make stuff up, that does not help with your credibility. It's insane. I wish he wouldn't do this. This is Ben. Is that his first name? Ben Crump. I have to look him up.
Ben Crump.
Benjamin Crump. Benjamin Crump. I'm gonna have to look him up. Good grief.
Special kid, but again, just heart was so big, and we're gonna miss him dearly. But we are grateful, especially to our friend Tashima, who actually was one of the people who helped us that night. She went and picked up his cell phone from where it was, and then provided that to us because we of course contacted authorities to figure out who to do the report with, whether it was the county or the city, which then turned into DMR, who I contacted immediately from there. And but so our friend actually, when I called her, Nolan is best friends with her 2 sons, Jalen and Javon. When I called her, I said, Tashima, have you seen Nolan? He's missing. No one has seen him. No one has talked to him. The boys were actually with her sons. So they opened up their Snapchat because a lot of the kids do have their locations where they're tracking one another. So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Life 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his car was, which was at a separate location.
In the pictures, when he came out of the room, half asleep or whatever.
Now, imagine that, fam. Imagine that. Let me go back a little bit here. But imagine you finding out that your child is missing and he could be out there in that water, right? Last time anybody heard from him, he was boating with his friends, his so-called friends. So imagine imagine you track the phone and you can and his location says that he's on land. Now you're very hopeful at this moment, right? You think, okay, well maybe he's just hanging out with some other friends, another group of friends, or he's hanging out with a girl or whatever, and that's all it is to it. But then you get over there, and then, well, you'll see.
But my Life 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his
This is why I like to see visuals, because I like to see what this is like. Anybody has Life 360? You have that, Johnny?
No, and quite frankly, I don't know how this incriminates anything.
That's what I'm saying. I want to see what this is like. What is she referring to? Like, we need a visual of this or something, because it just leaves most people confused. If you don't have that app or anything, you don't know how that works and what you're supposed to see. This doesn't really help. That's my whole thing. I like to I like to be able to pull this stuff up. So it's called Life 360.
Yeah. By the way, you'll notice that there's somebody on the sideline that's prodding her. Make sure you talk to us. We need to mention this. It's Ben Crump. He's telling her.
And he's standing on the side.
Yeah, he's right next to her. He's right next to her. Not the black gentleman on her right, but right next to him is Ben Crump.
Oh yeah. This suppressor. Okay, him right here with the black.
He's the one that's saying, "Hey, make sure you mention this." He's the one guiding this whole thing.
Yeah, if he just pulls, like, in situations like this, you need to keep it as factual as possible. If he were to able to just show the video surveillance at the door of the house to show this dialogue between the dad and the boy with the keys and this Life 360 app, people, I could understand what the heck is going on here, because I'm sitting here like this. I don't even know what that app is supposed to show you. It shows you online. It shows you where you've been.
I don't know.
Is that normal? Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, show us some basic facts about this stuff so we can follow along. Show up. Don't they have a screen back there? They can't show this stuff on a screen.
That I can't tell you. It's
so much
beyond my pay scale.
Yeah, it's just so much room to theory. If you don't have to speculate, because this child lost his life. He's deceased. He's not coming back, and that's the unfortunate part, because that's what it comes down to. These kids losing their lives, and the last thing you want is people trying to weaponize the death of a child. This kid was 18 years old. He had his whole life ahead of him. Mm-hmm. You know, if none of this, if they can't prove these things, these conversations occur, like they can't show video evidence, they can't show any documentation, anything from the phone, show before and after. If you're saying something's deleted or removed, if you can't show this evidence on it, then you understand how bad this is going to make you look if you just stand here and lie and there's no evidence to support it. And certain things can be shown, like showing us, here's what you expect to see with Life 360. Here it is right here. And then you can see all the places you've been and blah, blah, blah. Here's what's showing in my son's phone. Nothing. Like, show us the comparisons that you're making here. Otherwise, we're like, they could just be making all this up. And you don't want to ever have to think that when there's a loss of life, because you don't want to nullify the situation. There's a loss of life. 18-year-old is dead. And it's sad. I'm tired of seeing kids lose their lives. I don't care what race. These are still kids. I mean, just dehumanizing. If you're lying about it.
You have to understand how they react to these when they hear the news. Like, all right, a black kid was killed by a white kid. All right, this is terrible. You know, that's how they get eager, they get excited, and then they have to put on the frowny face in their videos because they have to show how distraught they are, when in reality, they love hearing these news. They love it. I mean,
Yeah.
It's what really gets. I think they get excited over it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And it's just so Mindy says it tracks your location. It can also track you in a car as well. The app was used in the Mackenzie Shriller case here in Ohio that she
Prove
was
that.
going 90 miles per
Mile per
hour
hour.
before
Yeah.
going to the car. Okay, the building killing two in her car. Okay, okay. Um
Mhm.
Al Sharpton. How old is Al Sharpton? He's got to be 1,000 years old.
I know.
Is he ever gonna retire? Go say out Al Sharpton. Yeah, now it's even funnier hearing
He's a
what you call it
repulsive
called.
creature himself. I mean, by the way, if you want to have some fun, Shank Ungar from the Young Turks, you know him.
Yeah, I know. I've
His
heard of him.
his take on Al Sharpton is blistering. He hates him with a bloody passion, and he talks about Al Sharpton's big grift that he does all the time at the corporate level, where he basically extorts companies into giving him money, or he's going to divulge racist stuff about the company. It's extortion,
What?
blackmail, and he's really bad at it. Yeah, Shank
Oh,
Ungar on
goodness.
Al Sharpton. I recommend everybody watch it.
Now we all understand why Dana Lash calls Candice Gail Sharpton.
And by the
Gail
way,
Sharpton.
the parents of Nolan, I understand. I feel for you, but you shouldn't bring Al Sharpton and Ben Crump into this. This is not good. And this just all of a sudden makes this all look like a big money shake. And I know that that's not the case, but this is really bad for your appearances. This is a criminal case. We don't need the civil lawyers in this yet. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of this at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm learning about Ben Crump. I don't know much about him or his background. I just haven't followed him. But I'm gonna look into him because we all know Al Sharpton is out here. They pick and choose who they want to go out and advocate for. You know, when it comes to black on black crime, where's Al Sharpton at again? Because I don't see him
Yeah.
covering black on black crime like this. Child, he's 1,000 years old. You think he would just go home and retire and just be somebody's old grandpappy?
Car was, which was at a separate location.
Yeah, dear
There
Lord.
were issues obtaining the key, but even so, there's just a lot of.
Tell them about what happened with the keys.
So I'm gonna.
Yeah,
let
got to
both
tell
you
them
guys
about
in
that. Make
tell
sure
you
you
about that because he
don't-
actually.
Yeah,
to
we got to
the
get
board
that
to
word out.
Get the key because at that point, I was just not in my right mind.
Now, keep in mind, fam, they got conflicting stories. The so-called friends got conflicting stories. First, they said they don't remember what happened. Then they said Nolan hopped on a boat with somebody else, some friends, some people that they don't even know. They ain't got no names or nothing. But then come to find out that they say Nolan left his phone with them, right? But then come to find out that there was messages on the phone that was deleted. And Nolan is always on Snapchat, according to his mother, filming things, he's recording things, but there's several messages deleted. And then we get to this part where the dad is now in search of the keys. Now, keep in mind, the friends got the phone and won't give the mama the phone. They was trying to hold on to the phone.
It's not true.
Now, remember, he's missing. Instead of them going and say, hey, Miss Wansley, here's Nolan's phone. They keep the phone. They don't give her the phone back. She got to track the phone to get the phone back.
This has just been an awful situation.
Can you stop it for a second?
Terrible.
Elmore Waters.
Okay. So you see the technique here. Don't forget to mention this. Why are we introducing this stuff to the public? I mean,
I don't know.
why? Well, they're
don't
trying
have
to
any
drum
evidence. I
up.
haven't seen a video
They're
of it.
trying to drum up a
Yeah.
campaign against these boys so they can sue them. And that's what this is all about. The other thing is this whole thing about them deleting messages. That is based on the fact that thinks that there would have been messages, but they're not. So they must have deleted them because he was always texting. He was always recording. So the fact that they're not there means, well, they must have deleted those. There's no evidence I know that there was anything deleted off of the phone. And I don't know how the kids would have gotten into the phone. You know, the
So
last thing
they didn't know his password or something?
Yeah. I mean, did they have his password? Because kids typically, and I'm going to play this, kids always, right? But kids typically password protect their phones because they don't want their parents getting into them, right? So this whole thing here is shady. And maybe the parents' maybe their description is correct, but having these lawyers involved just makes everything look suspicious.
The way they're going about doing this is
this is terrible.
Would not be doing this before evidence is released, because if the evidence comes out and it does not corroborate all this stuff you've been saying, you're gonna look like the bad guys. And they're gonna be like, oh, y'all raised all this money, and you had Tyler Perry's paying for the funeral. Colin Kaepernick is paying for a separate independent autopsy, which is fine. But if the evidence comes out and it does not line up with what they have been saying, they will be seen as liars either way. That's why I keep saying, where is this video camera footage from this so-called interaction about the keys? If this all occurred, there should be phone evidence from the boy that called this girl, and there should be video surveillance camera footage outside the door of the house. Because if these parents are wealthy like that, like one of them is a judge, one of the kids' mothers is a judge, so I'm sure she has, Ring or some home surveillance video installed. Just ask for the footage of the incident, of whatever the interaction was. Because if that does get out and then it's nowhere near what he describes it to be, I know I personally, I'm going to be irritated. Because I'm like, see, this is why you don't sit here and try to get ahead of things and knowing that there's evidence. Because if you're lying about it, guess what they're going to do? The other kids' parents, they're going to just post up the video evidence. Here's the video evidence of my home security footage. None of this stuff happened. I don't know what he's talking about. My son came in. He looked for the keys. He didn't see them. He came back out. He said something about an Xbox. He came back out and he said, I'm sorry, I didn't know they were there. Like, if this interaction did not happen, but the video evidence reveals something completely different, it will make the parents look really, really bad. That's why if you're going to do this stuff, you're going to have some evidence to go along with this so people can see the facts for themselves. Otherwise, we're all just kind of speculating if this conversation really went that way. And if you're not familiar, you're going to just go on with what you hear. And you're like, no, I want to see where's the video security footage for the house? Like, where is that at? Like, how do we know that this That's why I was like, man, and it wasn't to say I would have these kids locked up. No, I'm just gonna go out here and meet you with the police so that we can have this documented. That way, when we're out, we're saying this occurred, we can show proof that it occurred. Otherwise, we're just saying it, and it doesn't get it ends up in this back and forth. And then the parents, I know the judge put out a statement, and that's not something typical that you expect a judge to do. Put out statements on social media like that. Like, lady, you got your son has an attorney. Don't do that. My godmother never did that. It's certain things you should not even don't go into that realm where you start responding on social media and you're a sitting judge. Your son has an attorney. Let your attorney do the work. And I'm sure his attorney reminded her, come on, judge. You posting up stuff on social media. Don't do that. Because you know how that's gonna be taken. So
her posting was about the fact that people were claiming that her not posting was evidence of her boy being involved in a crime. So she went on there to say, hey, look, I just took down the social media because we were getting threats and stuff. I don't think that anything she posted would have caused her any troubles. But I don't know.
Yeah, because I know that most judges, they can't, like, they know that those things can come back and bite them, and you don't want to come off like you're being biased or taking a side of any of that. She knows that stuff happens all the time. She's a sitting judge.
But
It's a matter of let me just let my attorneys handle it. Like her not responding is because she should not be responding as a judge to something like this. And yes, she's going to try to protect and defend her son. But just because she's not responding does not mean her son's guilty either. I would never go so far as to say that. That's just crazy. It means that she's letting her attorneys address this, and the attorneys are going to tell you what every other attorney is going to tell you. Please do not respond or comment or go on social media about this if you don't have to. Let us handle it in the proper place, that being in the court of law.
Yeah, she felt that she had to.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I saw what you said. As long as what her claim was true or not, I don't see an issue there. But I see your point. I mean, you normally don't want to go on there, but I think she felt that their decision to get off the record, get away from social media, was causing more harm than good. And that people were saying, this is perfect evidence that your boy is a murderer. And
no, that's so insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's another good point, by the way, here. John Mitchell also mentioned something here.
They got a $450,000 GoFundMe.
Yeah, and this is another classic Ben Crump deal, and that is, you have this suspicious case, go in as quickly as you can, rile the people up because you know the truth is going to come out later, and when the truth comes out, the money dries up. So he's going to get in there and run this thing as hard and fast as he can to get the money in. And then here's another tactic. Once the truth comes out, Ben Crump is no longer around. He doesn't come in and say, hey, look, new evidence has come out. He just blows out of town. He did it with Rasheem Carter. He did it with Shaheem McMillan. He does this all the time. And he leaves a wake of destruction. And that's the end of it. He just blows out of town. And that's the last you hear of him about the case. And the same thing with the Trey Reed case. He just leaves town and it's over as far as he's concerned. He will not even text or TikTok, or he won't even tweet anything about the case. He just disappears.
This is insane. $450,000.
That's what he's trying to raise. I don't know if they've raised it, but yeah.
Is that what they've raised, Boston Lover? Is that what they've raised, or is that the target?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that, but that's typically what he does. He sets up a GoFundMe, and you know he's getting a cut of that, right?
Yeah, they all do. They get a cut of this. That Minister of Justice thing is something else, ain't it?
Now, what would happen to that GoFundMe if the lady goes and says, look, I've known these boys for a long time. I don't think they were involved. That GoFundMe dries up.
Oh my God. 450,000. Can someone confirm what the target is on the GoFundMe, please? If y'all can, it's whoever can just post up what the who knew? $450,000? Her son is dead. What the heck? So Tyler Perry paying for the funeral. Colin Kaepernick paying for the outside independent autopsy. The funeral and all of that is like the biggest expense here. They already raised $450,000. What? Oh man.
Wow.
What's that?
Okay, so the situation with the key. When we got to the house, a few of his friends, they were already there, and they were at the door in the house, asking questions. So when I walked up, they were getting, things were getting kind of intense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's in one of the pictures. He came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, I think Jax or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys. so I can get his car. I said, he's like,
His car was in New York.
his car's parked in New York. So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you
What?
Yeah, that response doesn't make any sense. And
I
keep
don't
in
know,
mind,
man. Those my like okay, but what the heck?
but the thing that
This is
bothers
an
me
old
is
conversation.
he says there was when I went there was this escalation and stuff. What happened there? Just because somebody knocks on my door doesn't mean there's going to be a tense moment. So what caused that? Well, maybe he was a little bit accusatory and these kids didn't like shine to that too much. I don't know, but there's context missing here. And I would like
A lot of
to know
context.
what actually was said between these parties and how.
Holy Jesus. So this is why I keep asking for that. Now you see why I'm saying somebody need to post up the video camera footage. Because
Well,
imagine
if it
this.
exists.
Yeah, if it exists, but I'm sure that these parents have cameras installed. Most people have cameras installed. It at least show something. But this is what happens when you're skipping through the story, and if you just hear what he said, what you miss is the entire dialogue between the kids that were already there. Sounds like they were already getting in the tuffle, but then one of them was asleep through all of that. Who was asleep? I'm not going to be asleep if there are 3 or 4 big kids in my house, and we're going back and forth, back and forth. How are you sleeping with that? You say he was asleep, came out, had bedhead. But yet they were having a tuffle where you had to tell the friends that were already there, listen, y'all don't do this to me right now.
Yeah.
Go by the car so I can talk to them. I need them to trust me. What? What are we missing? Like what? This makes no sense. Can you tell us exactly how we got to that point? Why would you feel like you need to tell them that? So were they arguing? Were they fighting? What were they doing?
Yeah.
What was going on?
It just sounds odd.
How was one of them sleep through all of that? I'm not sleeping through that. There's locomotion happening at the front of my door. No, where's the body? I just want the surveillance camera footage. You can't make this up. That's got to be some ring camera footage. So they've raised over $621,000 already. Oh my God, did you know that?
No.
Yo, this is insane. $621,000
for what? Wait, what's
not even paying for the funeral? What the hell is going on?
Your son is not being accused of a crime, so you don't need the huge legal defense funds. And Ben Crump, if he had a real good case, would do this pro bono anyway, right? Because he's smart enough to know that I can make a whole bunch of change, and you don't need $621,000.
Oh,
you just don't.
Exactly.
Okay, so just to give you an idea, my Wendy Rittenhouse and Kyle's mother was on my channel yesterday, and I asked her, how much did Kyle's legal defense fund cost in total? She said about $750,000. But keep in mind, he had 3 lawyers. He was the accused, and they ran mock trials. They brought in experts for the jury selection. Right. They spent a lot of money, and it was $750,000. What do you need $620,000 for?
This is madness.
This is insane.
Paying for the funeral, so they can't say, "Well, we need money to bury him," because Tyler Perry.
I want to see that funeral. I want to see. That's going to be like Emperor Bokassa level funeral there. It's like
I know, right? This man's a multi-millionaire. Tyler Perry's a billionaire.
Yeah. The autopsy, by the way, is being paid for by Colin Kaepernick. He's paying for that.
So they're by Colin Kaepernick and Tyler Perry.
So they're not paying for the autopsy.
You can make this up. Oh no!
I've never. This is
the goal
insane.
Was $750,000. The goal is $750,000. $750,000 is the goal.
Okay, now I'm assuming this is accurate. I'm assuming this is accurate. Okay, if this is true, if they really do have a goal of $750,000, and they've raised 621, then my opinion about this changes 180 degrees. I'm
They're saying
sorry.
it's
No,
from the
I ain't going
GoFundMe.
for
This
this.
is from their GoFundMe website. They what's his name? Nolan Wells GoFundMe. I'm gonna put child. You can't make this up.
Please be wrong. Please be wrong.
Oh my
I
god!
can't imagine.
This is ridiculous, dude. They're not wrong. They're not wrong.
Oh no.
$621,916 raised of $750,000. Why?
Screw these parents. Screw
Why
them.
I can't get $7,000 to take my kids to Universal Studios? Man, you can't make this up.
What are they saying here?
Unbelievable.
What are they saying there that they need the money for?
I don't know. Hold on, let me read. Hearts are broken.
I know you wouldn't, John, but I have to be
After an extensive search involving
careful.
while no words is paying, we agree with it. But as we begin the journey of laying Nolan to rest, we are asking for help to ease the financial burden placed on our family. Tyler Perry said, "Cool, gotcha." So
that'll do it.
That's it. He's gonna cover the funeral expenses. Funds raised will be for funeral and memorial expenses, celebration of life, and any additional costs associated with honoring Nolan's memory. Tyler Perry said, "Got the funeral covered. Funeral and burial, I'm covering that. Y'all want to have a repast and a meal after that? Cool." So if he's paying for the funeral, what? He's a billionaire.
This is cashing in.
Celebration of life service and additional costs associated with honoring. How much is the church gonna cost for the funeral? Like seriously, how much is the church gonna charge you for this funeral? You might be able to get it for free at a church. You got Al Sharpton. He calls himself Reverend, don't he? He's 1,000 years old.
Let me put it this way: if it costs this much for a funeral at a church, there's going to be no church funerals because who could ever afford it, right?
No one will be affording that. Most times they do it for free, and if they feel like okay, this is like a high profile type thing, funeral, they will do it for free. And especially if you get somebody to come in, got a Reverend Al Sharpton to come in. Can you do Nolan Wells' funeral for free for me and just help us out? They probably will. They probably won't charge it off. So what other costs do you have? Tyler Perry is covering the funeral. He's covering all the funeral memorial expenses. He's covering that. And Colin Kaepernick is covering the. Do they not know that this GoFundMe is almost at $250,000? Maybe they don't know that. Maybe Tyler Perry didn't know that.
Screw these parents. Screw them.
I'm so confused.
No. This is no good. This is no good.
I would love to do. I should just do a GoFundMe to try to raise the $7,000 that Candace Owens' cult members keep saying I'm being paid. Yeah, simply because Candace Owens said I was being paid $7,000 by Israel. Here's my GoFundMe where we can just get that money along, and then maybe Benjamin Netanyahu can reimburse GoFundMe. Like you can't make this up, man.
LLC, would you like to go on a little boat ride with me? There's an island out there in the Pacific we could hang out.
I ain't studying you, Johnny Walker Dread. I got bad vibes already.
Your cell phone. Just make sure you leave your cell phone in the boat because you don't want to get it wet. I mean,
my God.
John Mitchell wants to come. He wants in on that.
You better not touch my car keys. I ain't playing with you. I just filled up the gas tank. I can't do this, man. Oh, poor Nolan Wells got to be like, what are y'all doing down there, Mom? Come on, bro. Like, oh no, this is insane.
How much of this do you think? How much of this do you think that Ben Crump is taking?
He's gonna get at least 10%.
Oh no, well more than that.
Yeah, but probably a little bit more than that. For him to still not file any legal anything to a court.
He hasn't done anything. He's made bank and he hasn't had to do anything.
Is he a criminal defense attorney? He's just a civil. He's civil rights.
He's
right?
only civil. So
Who you gonna sue? Who you gonna sue right now?
he
Like,
doesn't
let's
have to
see
sue
here.
anybody now,
Oh
right?
my
He doesn't have
God.
to sue anybody. Suing is work. That means you got to fill out those briefs. That takes a long time. Here, he makes the money without doing anything.
Boy. They got
One
here
person donated 100,000.
1,000 Byron Allen. God,
Moron.
where's Byron Allen? Byron Allen, I just need 7,000.
I mean,
It's
look, I
$7,000
donated.
check I was promised from Israel. Just give me the
I
7,000.
donated some money to Kyle Rittenhouse, but that's because I thought he was innocent and he was accused of a crime. He needed the money.
And he had criminal defense teams. This is not even the son is not the son. Their son is deceased. The son is deceased, and they got $750,000. This is crazy. And you know he had to have life insurance because he played sports. So
Well,
he
that probably wouldn't have.
had the
Well, I don't
life
know about
insurance
that,
policy.
but I don't know about the life insurance deal, but you don't need it.
He doesn't need it. They said any remaining funds will help support the family as they navigate the difficult days ahead. If you are unable to donate, we ask that you continue to pray for our family and share this fundraiser. Man, they about to hit $750,000. What happens when they meet that? They just gonna raise up the goal?
I mean,
Y'all.
probably.
Oh my God. Look, John and Jim said they'll go with you out there to the boat. They said they'll go out there to the boat ride, y'all. One person donated. Oh my God, y'all. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Who knew? $621,916. Now I'm gonna do a GoFundMe just because I want to take my kids to Florida, to Universal Studios. They were like, that Lady Luck Club up there starting to GoFundMe for a trip. I mean, at least I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I'm telling you exactly what it's for, and you shall see all receipts. Hotel, flight, car, rental, everything. You'll see it all.
I'll say this. When Carmelo Anthony put up his GoFundMe stuff, I didn't care. Like, look, if they need money, whatever, and if they blow it stupidly, that's on them. But this is another animal. This is insane. I have never seen this before. Nothing to this level.
I want Nolan Wells to get any justice that he is due and deserving of, to find out what happened. But when you have the biggest expense already being taken care of, does Tyler Perry know this GoFundMe exists? Would he have even offered to pay for the funeral? I'm not even trying to pocket watch. I'm just amazed at how fast they raised this type of money.
Well, if it had been my kid, and look, I mean, I'm not necessarily rich, and okay, we got some funeral expenses. Okay, it gives him go, and the guy says, let's put a $750,000. I would say, look, no, come on. I know it's gonna make me look like I'm trying to profit off my kid's death. Yeah. I would say, let's keep it to just what I need, because I want people to know that I'm really hurting and I need a little bit of help. This is beyond that.
This is crazy. This is insane. I have never seen this in all my life. And y'all, this happened over the 4th of July weekend. Johnny Walker, this just happened the 4th of July weekend.
But here's the other thing. Now that you see this, go back to what the father's explanations for the keys are and reevaluate the credibility of his claims. Because Ben Crump talked him into this. So what else did he talk him into?
So Ben Crump just helps people get fundraisers started like this.
Well, I'm sure that he was involved in this because, I'm sure that Ben Crump, if Ben Crump, if you're out there and you're saying that you were not involved, let me know and I will backtrack on that. But I'm sure he was.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh man. I'm gonna have to get the rest of this in a separate live because we got our marathon at 5.
Oh
for
yeah.
Candice. Oh my God! Listen here. You see what happens when time flies when you're having fun, Johnny Walker Dread.
Yeah. Oh, I know it.
Oh
I know
my
it.
God, y'all, this has
God.
been something else. This is eye opening. I had no idea. He played community college. Was he going to
He
the
was a
pros?
well, no, it was some small. I think it was Southwestern Mississippi Valley College A&M or something like that. It was just, yeah,
Okay.
he's not playing in the NFL. Um, and and they, of course, they're going to make him out to be a football star, but everything indicates that he was an average player. But whatever.
Wow.
Oh,
So
oh my God!
once they hit that 750,000, they're just gonna raise it up.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
They're just gonna push it up. Can't make this up. Who child? Listen, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, it was fun.
You. This was awesome. Status Quo, how you doing, honey? Jeep lady. To all those that I did not get to see and say hello to, Mindy, shout out to the mods up in here. Cheryl been up in here. Y'all listen. Listen. We're all learning. There gonna be things I'm gonna say that y'all might not agree to always, but this right here, I just want them to put out the facts. Just post up the video evidence to let us see and hear that interaction. Because the dad skipped whole conversations, and it's like, how did we get there? Wait a minute. What you mean? So either way, you guys, if you can, tune into the next live stream. Shout out to Johnny Walker Dread, you all. Thank you all so much. Make sure you guys go look out for Johnny Walker Dread collab that he did with Jay Witt podcast. Once that's up and running, go check it out. Show us some love. And you know you're going to be back. So I appreciate you hanging out with me and going over this. It was definitely needed because I needed to do an update. And you're always welcome, Johnny Walker Dread.
Oh, all yeah, right? we got to do more of these.
Exactly.
My channel, the Johnny Walker Dread Show. It's spelled, by the way, JOHNNIE, not like the whiskey. Because I'm going to be punching out a lot of stuff on Carmelo Anthony and Nolan Wells. Mm-hmm. You don't want to miss it. I take a different tack than most people do. And unfortunately, I don't make $621,000 in money.
Oh, boy, that hurt. What?
That hurt.
Man.
Oh, by the way, I want to make one point. The autopsy that is being performed by Colin Kaepernick, as soon as he discloses that there's nothing involved, the money dries up, and so you will never see that autopsy.
Wow.
You'll never. The same thing with Trey Reed. They never did disclose it. So that's what's going to happen. So thanks, everybody, for joining in. I really enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. Awesome. We always have fun.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Listen, y'all, this is how conversations and debates are supposed to occur. Even if you don't agree eye to eye, or you just ask questions. That's how it's supposed to go. And we're still alive at the end of the day. We're still alive. Nobody stabbed anybody in the chest. Like, anything like that. We're still here. So you can very well have dialogue, even in the chat. If you don't agree, I welcome it. It's okay. Mama not gonna cut your head off. We still love each other at the end of the day. You all, thank y'all so much. Hit that like button and hype this video up when it's done at the conclusion of the live stream. I will see you all in the next Candice Marathon. If not, until the next one. Johnny Walker Dread, thank you so much. And the rest of you all have a great evening. Lady Luck Club out.
Take care.